Okay, we'll call this meeting in order. Roll call, please, Fernando.
Councilmember Rivas.
Present.
Councilmember Green. Councilmember Beltran.
Present.
Vice Mayor McCurvey.
Present.
Mayor Meister.
Present. Oral communication, this is an opportunity to address the city council on any matter scheduled for closed session. Unless additional time is authorized by the council, all commentary shall be limited to 3 minutes. I'm not seeing anyone. City manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Members of the council, tonight we have 4 closed session items on the agenda. The first item is Government Code Section 54957.6, conference with Labor Negotiator Agency Negotiator Richard Tree and Juliana Andrade. Employee organizations is Management and Confidential Series, Porterville Safety Support Unit, and Porterville City Employee Association. Item number 2 is Government Code Section 54956.95, a liability claim. Claimant is Vanessa Sosa, agency claimed against City of Porterville. The third item, Government Code Section 54956.95, another liability claim. Claimant Jose Vargas, agency claimed against City of Porterville. And the final closed session item is Government Code Section 54956.9D2, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, significant exposure to litigation, one case in which facts are not yet known to potential plaintiff.
Okay, at this time, we'll go into closed session and reconvene at 6:30. Okay, we'll reconvene to open session and report on any reportable action taken in closed session.
Yes, we have reportable action for item number 2. Council voted 5-0 to reject the claim by Vanessa Souza. And then also for item number 3, council voted 5-0 to reject the claim by Jose Vargas. And that's the end of reportable action.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, moving on. I'll ask you all to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Council Member Rivas.
Right.
And then please remain standing for invocation if someone would like to give one.
Salute. Pledge.
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Today, my prayer is that we lift up the leaders of our city today. I pray for wisdom, discernment, and compassion in all the decisions that affect our city and the lives of all of our residents. Give them courage to lead with integrity, always seeking the welfare of our city. Lord, you be their guide and strength when they are faced with difficult situations. Equip and empower our leaders as they strive to lead our community into a peaceful, prosperous, and united environment. Continue to bless the efforts of the Porterville Rescue Mission as they work to empower lives, feed, and clothe the homeless. Even the smallest act of kindness and hospitality will not go unnoticed or unrewarded by God. A divine protection, we pray, upon our firefighters and a shield around our police officers as they continue to serve the lives of our city. Let us give thanks for the continued effort to keep our streets safe from distracted drivers, speeders, and those who drive under the influence of any kind of toxic substance. Safety always for our children and all of the school areas. Blessings upon the summer reading program for the children of all ages. May the kids be inspired to participate and learn to love and enjoy the benefits of reading. As our nation celebrates 4th of July, let us be thankful as we look back as America became and rose from a fragile cluster of colonies to the most powerful and influential nation. Benjamin Franklin stated, "God governs in the affairs of men." We must continue to proclaim a national day of prayer and fasting, urging people to humble themselves before God. The rise of our nation unfolded according to the promise of God Almighty, according to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, so stated in the Bible. The promise was not symbolic. It was literal, and it was fulfilled by God. May we be thankful for the sacrifices that were made to secure our freedom. Even with the blessings of God upon America, America is not perfect, and Porterville is not perfect. Division, conflict, and human weakness is inevitable. But let us always reflect and be filled with a grateful heart for the nation that gives us freedom, and let us strive together for lasting peace, stability, and righteousness. In the mighty name of Jesus, I pray.
Tonight, I'd like to offer a moment of reflection for our city and those elected to serve it. Creator of the universe, we ask for wisdom in this chamber tonight. We ask for humility from those entrusted to lead this city. Help all of us remember that public service is service, not power, not pride, not personal grievance, but service to the whole community. Help our leaders listen, especially when the voices they hear are critical, uncomfortable, or different from their own. Let disagreement not become disrespect. Let criticism not become retaliation. Remind us that every resident who comes to this podium comes because they care deeply about Porterville, and that caring enough to speak should be met with respect, not dismissal. We ask that leadership in the city be guided by fairness, not favoritism, by integrity, not ego, and by accountability, not division. For those who speak of faith, let faith be shown through humility, kindness, and service. For those who speak of the Constitution, let its protections be honored equally for every resident, not just those with influence, not just those who agree, and not just those who are easy to hear. Help us build a city where everyone feels heard, a city where the government belongs to everyone, a city where disagreement is not treated as disloyalty, and where criticism is not treated as an attack. And if we have fallen short, and many of us have, give us the courage to own it, the grace to change it, and the wisdom to do better. Porterville deserves leadership that brings people together, not leadership that divides them. May we all leave this room tonight remembering who we serve, why we're here, and what this community deserves. Amen.
Okay, I'm not seeing anyone else. Please be seated. All right, with that, we'll move on to presentations. Fire Chief? What am I missing? Oh, I did skip council comments. I apologize. Sorry, Chief Cogburn, we love talking up here. So who would like to take the lead? Councilman Rivas?
I have no comment.
No comments. Councilman Beltran? Councilman Green? Vice Mayor McCurvey?
I have some opening comments. You know, we're reaching a milestone here as we finish the year. The new council is addressing the financial failures and decline of the past by delivering results now for everyone. We're fixing the roads, we're fixing downtown, we're cutting regulations, we're giving raises to our first responders, we're focusing on service, and we're focusing on performance and growth in the future. We are balancing the budget. That's going to be on the agenda tonight. We must continue to beautify our city. I love the prayers tonight for unity and the prayers tonight for the Porterville Rescue Mission. I went and had coffee with the Rescue Mission this week and their leadership. They're doing great work over there. I had the privilege also of attending the banner ceremony this past week on May 22nd, and I was able to do the invocation. The MHS stage band was excellent. And then the mayor called for all of us to have a picture, and it was in the paper. It was very nice. It was a good thing that we did for our community and continue to do for our community. I also was at the Memorial Day where they honored Randy Hoppert with a flag, and we had our lovely Panther band down there showcasing their talent, and that was really, really heartfelt for Memorial Day. There's a lot of things going on in the spring. On Tuesday, we attended, May 26th, we attended the PD swearing in. I think we had 10 or 12, I think it was 10 officers, 3 dispatchers, I believe, is that?
6 officers, 3 dispatchers, and a training coordinator.
Okay, I had that stats wrong. Thank you for correcting me. But it was great to have all the families there. It filled up that new space that you guys have just painted, and it was a great moment to be with those families and lift up our first responders. I was at TCAG Local Motion and accepted 2 awards on behalf of the city. They're right here. It is the Outstanding Transit Project Award, and that would be for the city of Porterville for Director Isom's team. And we also have a Local Motion Award for the Outstanding Bike and Pedestrian Project, which is the completion of the next leg of the Parkway. And that's and the lion's share of that work was for Sarah Weaver and Clayton Dignam. Thank you guys for being there and accepting that. Really appreciate that. And make sure you pass that on to the teams and all the people that worked so hard on that and delivered that for our community. Had the pleasure of spending some time with the owners at El Taco Rico for the Small Business Spotlight. And, you know, I really am excited about being able to lift up the shop local and those small businesses, and it was just something will be coming out soon to showcase that. A lot of great things going on. Let's see, what else? Last night, we got to attend the promotion of Mark Acevedo to captain, and got to meet some of his family and be able to lift them up as he makes that promotion. He's been in the force for 27 years, and a well-deserved promotion, too. A fine young man. Just want to say so many nice things about our first responders, how they're keeping us safe, and they're delivering for our community. and they're keeping us in a position where we continue to grow. And as we fix up our downtown and we fix up our streets and we get the law and order back where it needs to be, it really is adding the spirit back to the community. And I'd just like to thank our interim city police chief for all of his hard work to lift up our police department and deliver those results for our community. And then lastly, and I'll say this also for the, I was able to host, along with Lori Halleck, the Pleasant View students. They brought a class here with their teachers in these chambers, and we taught them about government and how it works. It was a really nice event. I got to sit a couple of the boys up here and pretend that they were mayor, and it was a lot of fun to spend some time with the kids. But it's been busy. I know there's a lot of things going on in the city, and I've been able to attend that and really just be part of that spirit of our community. And I wanted to open that up tonight with just a litany and a list of things that are going on that are really, really uplifting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I also attended the military banner ceremony, the 22nd. It's such a great turnout. What was it, 51 new banneries? 53. That was close. But what a great honor. I actually put my dad's banner up, and I had the great honor of reading his name off. It's an amazing experience and just an amazing thing we do in our community, celebrating veterans, celebrating patriotism in our community. The 25th Memorial Day, it's such a sacred ceremony, putting up the old casket flags out at Hillcrest Cemetery. You know, I put up, they put killed on, KIA on the flags, killed in action, came across a couple of Vietnam, World War II veterans. Me and my son putting those flags up with American Legion and volunteers in our community. It really is, like I said, a sacred thing. And with the veterans, the people that paid the ultimate sacrifice, celebrating Memorial Day, it's because of men and women like that throughout our nation, we the people get to know the blessings of liberty. And so it's really just a treat to be in these seats and get to be a part of these things. And as the Vice Mayor stated, thank you to American Legion for recognizing Randy Hoppert with an honorary flag that day. Randy was a Navy veteran, and we will never forget him. And the American Legion made sure of doing that Memorial Day, so we appreciate that. The 26th, I also attended the swearing-in ceremony for Porterville PD. Like we said, 6 police officers, 3 dispatchers, and 1 training coordinator, finding top talent, all from Porterville. Every single individual is a Porterville resident. We did it over at the police station. I hate calling you interim chief, but Mr. Rader got the, what do we call that? Emergency operating center or room. Got the room painted, got a nice police logo up. It's a really amazing job. The room looks great. Great honor to be a part of that as well. The 28th, I went to the Elks Lodge, and I had the great honor of recognizing Mr. Ellis from Kalinga. He's a Vietnam veteran. And really just a special treat to be a part of that moment with him. I presented him with our challenge coin, talked about Porterville, and also talked about his dedication not only to the country, to our community, but the Elks Lodge and what they represent throughout the country. 29th, I sat down with our county supervisor, Dennis Townsend, and we highlighted some priority projects that we need to achieve here in the city of Porterville. Vice Mayor attended that meeting with the county supervisor, and we really highlight, because to get these jobs done, we have to have collaboration with the county and TCAG. And so we talked about the Newcomb Bridge, we talked about Westwood Bridge over Porter Slough, we talked about Castle Street realignment in between Lombardi in Newcomb there, and then we also talked about Union Street and turning lanes at North Grand and Old Main. Really just a great treat to once again, work with such honorary individuals. And then yesterday, Mark Azevedo was promoted to captain. So we're doing it all, and it's great to see these men and women promote up and doing the great work. There's a reason why we call Porterville PD's or Porterville's finest, and so Mark represents that. Like you said, I think 27 years here, and then he served some years in Tulare before that. So man has been committed to public safety, and it's a great honor to be a part of that. Okay. Oh, and then, this year we're celebrating 250 years of American history, American greatness. And Flag Day, June 14th, the celebration is to put up new flags, but I want to challenge the public, the whole community, in the spirit of that 250 years, in the spirit of being an American. I challenge the community to put up new flags throughout this city, and join me in doing so. So with that, we'll move on to the presentation. Chief Cogburn.
Well, thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of council. Unfortunately, fires and emergencies don't stop for our employee of the month, Damon Noe. He is currently on a river bottom fire and some thick bamboo over at Plano. So unfortunately, he won't be able to make it, but he can watch the replay and hear all the nice things I have to say about him after this. So firefighter Noe has proudly served the Porterville Fire Department for the past 4 years. A second-generation firefighter, Damon developed a passion for the fire service at an early age, beginning his journey at just 14 years old as a fire explorer with the Tulare County Fire Department, and later continuing with the Tulare City Fire Department throughout high school. After completing his EMT school, Damon worked for Lifestar Ambulance and served 3 years as a reserve firefighter for Tulare County Fire Department before earning a full-time position as an engineer. In 2022, he joined the Porterville Fire Department, where he continues to serve the community with professionalism and dedication. Within the fire department, Damon takes an active role in training and operational development. He serves as the lead of the department's ventilation cadre and is a member of the auto extrication cadre, burn cadre, and apparatus committee. One of Damon's greatest professional interests is apparatus development, where he values the opportunity to help design and shape the department's future fleet. Outside of work, Damon enjoys spending time with his wife, Michaela, and their 2 dogs. In his free time, he enjoys golfing with friends, visiting the beach, attending San Francisco Giants games, and traveling with his wife. So with that, I'd like to, unfortunately, not represent or present Damon, but give him a round of applause for being.
We'll give him a standing ovation.
So I'd also like to say that I actually knew Damon when he was in high school. Him and you probably have seen his twin brother, Darren. He was previously the Employee of the Month and Employee of the Year. So I've known those boys since they were 14 years old, and I knew at a young age they had a bright future and they had the work ethic to be successful. So it's great to recognize them later in their career as well. So thank you for that.
Hey, thank you, Chief. Does council have any comments? Nope. Hopefully he's getting hazard pay.
He's, well, we'll see, yeah.
All right, thank you, sir.
The presentation as well.
Oh, do your thing.
Okay. So thank you for the opportunity to also deliver a update on the presentation, get this information to the council as well as the community in this forum. This will be a overview of the 2025 year for the department as well as some of the things we've accomplished in 2026. Next slide, Fernando. Go ahead, I'll let you do it. Just a quick overview. The Porterville Fire Department serves out of 3 fire stations with 52 sworn firefighters. Our fiscal budget last year was $11.4 million. We have a Class 2 Insurance Safety Office rating, which that is the top 7% in the nation. So the Insurance Safety Office is what helps drive the lower rates for both commercial and residential premiums. There is, not that I'm aware of, a department in the valley that has a higher than Class 2 rating. And this is a combination of a lot of things in the city. It's a combination of the water department, our communication system, the training, the staffing, our apparatus. It all plays into that ISO rating. So we're very proud of that Class 2 rating. Like I said, top 7% in the nation. '25 was a busy year for us. We ran nearly 6,500 calls for service. That's roughly 10% up over the last 2 years. We're seeing about 4 to 5% year on average for a call increase. As you can see, the bulk of those are medical calls. We ran about 400 fires last year. That consists of everything from vegetation fires, river bottom fires, and structure fires. Other fires, about 1,500, 1,600, that was everything else. That's your traffic accidents, your gas leaks, your public assists. And our busiest station was Fire Station 72 on Newcomb with nearly 2,700 calls for service. So just over 10 calls a day. Not only are we busy in the city of Porterville, we're also busy assisting with our partners throughout the state of California. So we had a busy year. 2025 was busy, 2024 was busy. I anticipate 26 will be busy. We responded to 7 large incidents throughout the state of California, beginning with the Palisades Fire early in the year, and then ending with the Garnett Fire up in the Sierra National Forest at the end of the year. Training and development, 16,000 hours in our department of training last year. That's nearly 300 hours per firefighter of annual training. A big part of that is our new 4-story Draeger burn tower that provides our firefighters with live fire training. That is an invaluable tool. That's all thanks to the council and the support of the community. We've also continued on our progress with the SART and NIOSH recommendations. One of those SART recommendations was the training aspect, so the Draeger live fire training helped accomplish that. We also are working on, or did work on the EOC Fire Administration design plans, and the 72 remodel is underway. On the prevention and community outreach side, we provided 50-plus public education events. And we provided, during Fire Prevention Week, we provided every 3rd grade class in Porterville with a presentation on fire safety. We also had 10 arson-related arrests and seized 158 pounds of illegal fireworks. Moving to 2026, as you know, and the rest of the community knows, this has been a busy year for us. Several structure fires, several tragic fatal fires, but one fire I would like to highlight is a fire where we actually had a rescue. This was on March 21st, roughly 2:30 in the morning. Our crews received a call for a structure fire with victims trapped. That's actually video, well, it's a still photo, but it's from a video that was at the incident. That is the exterior of that home. You can see it spreading into the interior. There was 2 things that saved the life of the victim that day, which when they arrived on scene, they found her trapped in a bedroom, went through the bedroom window, found her pulseless and non-breathing, kind of wound up in the bedroom, the bed frame, had to remove some things, get her out the window, very challenging. Pulseless, non-breathing, resuscitated her in the front yard, got pulses back, transported to the hospital, spent several days in the hospital. And then next slide, Fernando. This is her the other day with our crews. After several weeks in the hospital and she was on the mend, Yesenia was able to come by and see our guys. And for a couple of these guys, it's been a really challenging year. They were on a couple of our fatal fires. And so meeting her and the impact that they had and seeing that their efforts saved someone's life was really touching. And she got to spend some time with us that day, and it was great. So there's 2 things that saved her life that day. One thing was the actions of our firefighters, their ability to get inside that structure and search for her. The other part was the fact that she closed her door before she went to bed at night. If you go back to that previous slide, Fernando, really quick, you can see that's actually the photo on the left. That's the inside of the door of her bedroom. You can see that at the top, it was starting to be eaten away by fire. But because it was closed, it slowed the spread of fire. It stopped the hot gases from getting into her room. Yes, she went into cardiac arrest because of the conditions, but if the door had been open, it would have been much worse. You can see that inside the bedroom, there is some smoke staining, but it's fairly clean. That's because she had her door closed. If you go to the next slide, one more, please. So what we're doing, so part of our upcoming 2026, some of the things we're working on is we're currently working on a video PSA for the Close Your Door campaign. We really want to get that out there to everybody in the community, letting them know the biggest impact you can have to help us create a saveable space so we can get to you is closing your door at night. So we have, with Yesenia's help, she's going to give her testimonial on the video as well as of our crews and what they did, plus closing her door, contributing to saving her life that day. So that video, hopefully, I'm hoping to have that done in the next couple weeks, and maybe we can roll that out at the future council meeting. In closing, some of the things we're continuing to work on for this year, this calendar year, is the completion of 72. That remodel is coming along. We're finalizing the design of the EOC and administrative building. Our ladder truck and engines will be showing up this fall, and like I said, the close before you doze. So thank you for the time, and thank you for the opportunity to speak to you and the community as well. So thank you.
Chief, before you run, I'm sure there's going to be some questions, but love seeing that, is it Drager?
Drager.
Drager, the training, C-Train Center, right? It's love seeing it in action. I driven by and seen smoke coming out of it, knowing you guys are working and training, not only to be safe for ourselves, but also have the skills to go and retrieve people like you saved here. And we talked about this the last council meeting. It's amazing, right? And we've had some fatal fires this last year. It's been very tough and unprecedented in the city of Porterville. And so I really appreciate what our fire department's doing, what you guys represent. I have a special request. I'd love a tour of that remodel, Station 72.
Absolutely.
So if we can line that up. Council, go ahead, free for all. If you guys have any comments, go ahead and speak up.
Well, I just want to say outstanding work, Chief, to you and your team. I mean, just amazing to see how much education you have in there and how well-trained you are. A lot of people think, they're tough, but there's only two people, the trained and the untrained. And have that training really put you guys in a position to save those lives, and it's great to have one on here that's in that direction. I know it's not always like that, but you guys work hard at it every day. The proactive approach to education is really outstanding, and to be in the top 7% nationally is a great place to be. So thank you for all the hard work, and please pass that on to the man and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Yes, I just want to say thank you. I echo the Vice Mayor's sentiments. Thank you for the presentation, and I really appreciate your leadership and your team for doing what they do, because Porterville is if it weren't for you, your department, your people, your training, I think it would be a lot worse. But thank you very much, sir. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Chief. Okay, moving on to, Oral communication. This is the opportunity to address the council on any matter of interest, whether on the agenda or not. Please address all items not scheduled for public hearing at this time. Unless additional time is authorized by the council, all commentary shall be limited to 3 minutes.
Good evening, Council. Mayor Scott Bowler, address is on record. I'm here tonight to discuss a proposal on the agenda regarding the downtown speaker system. Let me be clear at the outset. I am not against the idea of improving downtown or making our public spaces more vibrant. I believe in an active Main Street. However, I am deeply concerned about the proposal to use Measure I funds to pay for a $150,000 speaker system. When the voters of Porterville passed Measure I in 2018, they did so with clear understanding of what the money was for. It was marketed and improved for the support of essential city services, especially police, fire, emergency response, anti-gang efforts, and youth programs. Excuse me. The 1-cent sales tax was a promise to the community that would prioritize public safety and critical infrastructure. We are currently operating on a very tight budget. We have significant pressing needs in the city, including our refuge department, managing our homeless population, ensuring our public safety departments are staffed and have resources that they need to keep us safe. To suggest $150,000 safety designated tax revenue should be spent on audio infrastructure while we have these glaring unmet needs is misuse of public trust. Let's spend money on training ammo for the police chief and his department. If this project is so vital to the economic activity of tourism, then we should find a funding for it in a general fund budget or through appropriate grants, such as Clean California Local Grant Program, California Main Street and Downtown Revitalization Grants, or even public art and placemaking grants. I'm not dipping into any fund that the people would voted to reserve our police or our fire department and our kids program. I urge the council to vote no on item 4. Let's respect the spirit of what the voters approved and keep our budget focused on the essential services that our community needs most right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott.
Here we are again tonight with what I call another dumb purchase, $150,000 for a sound system for downtown. In a time of fiscal uncertainty and budget deficits, this council is once again focusing on a want instead of a need. What this community is witnessing is not leadership. It is weakness disguised as certainty. It is cowardice disguised as conviction. Because courage is not standing behind slogans. Courage is not attacking residents who disagree with you. Courage is not governing for your supporters while dismissing everyone else as the enemy. And courage is certainly not spending money like there is an unending supply of it. Most of us would call it reckless, if not stupidity. Real courage is doing the hard thing when it costs you politically, something that most of you fail to do. Real courage is listening when the public raises concerns instead of rolling your eyes, insulting people, lecturing people, or pretending only certain voices matter. Real courage is admitting when you're wrong, and that is exactly what has been missing from this council. Again and again, we watch ideology and conspiracy theories take priority over governance. Personal agendas take priority over practical solutions. Political theater take priority over fiscal responsibility. You were elected to govern a city, not a fan club, not a movement, not a social media audience. This city belongs to everyone, and yet many residents have been made to feel that if they don't agree with you, they don't count. Their questions are inconvenient, their criticism is mocked, their concerns are minimized. They are called communists, socialists, terrorists, and nasty. That is not public service, that is abuse of power. And while all of this is happening, money continues to be spent in ways that deserve far more scrutiny than they're getting. At a time when families are stretched thin, when departments are facing cuts, when staff and services are strained, this council continues to find money for appearances, promotions, pet projects, and spectacle, while asking the public to trust that priorities are being handled responsibly. Trust is earned through discipline, through transparency, through restraint, not through excuses, not through spin, and not through treating taxpayer dollars like they exist to fund whatever narrative you want to sell next. The people of Porterville deserve better than performative governance. They deserve thoughtful leadership, mature leadership, leadership that can separate ego from duty, not weak leaders tied to ideologies. Set aside the politics, set aside the grudges, set aside the need to be right. Do your jobs, govern for the entire city, spend money, public money like it belongs to the public because it does, and have the courage to lead with accountability instead of ideology. Because if this council cannot do that, then the public is left to ask a very simple question. Who exactly are you serving?
Thank you, ma'am.
Karen Anderson, good evening. I'm here tonight because honestly, we're disappointed. But not because we expect everyone up there to agree with us. Nobody expects that. People can disagree, and that's normal. That's part of government. What's hard to accept is how often disagreement turns into name-calling, personal attacks, or residents being talked down just for speaking up. That shouldn't be happening here. People come to these meetings because they care about Porterville. They take time out of their lives to be here to speak, to ask questions, to raise concerns. They shouldn't be mocked for it. They shouldn't be dismissed because you don't like what they're saying. You were elected to represent the whole city, not just the people who support you, not just the people who agree with you, and not just the people in your corner. But that's how it feels a lot of the time, that if someone isn't part of your group, their opinion doesn't matter. And that's frustrating, because this council is supposed to serve everybody. It's also frustrating to hear religion and the Constitution brought up over and over to defend decisions that seem to only benefit one side. Faith means a lot to many people in this community. So does the Constitution. Both deserve respect, but neither should be used to shut people down, excuse bad behavior, or justify treating people differently based on whether they agree with you personally and politically. You don't show faith through division. You don't defend the Constitution by only applying it when it's convenient. You show both by listening, by treating people with respect, by being fair, by doing the work of governing even when it's uncomfortable. That means listening to criticism without getting defensive. It means hearing people out even when they didn't vote for you. And it means remembering that your responsibility is to the entire community. We're disappointed because we know this council can do better. Porterville deserves better than insults, better than selective listening, better than a council that seems more interested in rewarding supporters and dismissing critics than actually bringing people together. People are paying attention. People care. And people are asking you to do better. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen.
Got a mouthful this time. I came in at the last meeting to express my concerns over the flock safety cameras.
Could
that
you
have been
please state
placed-
your name for the record, sir?
Jacob Walker. I came in at the last meeting to express my concerns over the flock safety cameras that have been placed around town. 3 more recorded since I was last here. For those who weren't here before, Flock Safety is an American manufacturer of automated license plate recognition software, video surveillance, and gunfire locators. There are about 100,000 across the U.S. I expressed my belief that the implementation of these cameras is unconstitutional under the Fourth Amendment, and I believe they may help in violating other amendments, as those who are criticizing the current administration and these surveillance systems are being labeled as domestic terrorists. Mr. Mayor, you told me we needed them because they help solve crime. Flock Safety claims their systems help solve 10% of reported crime in America. So I did some digging and could not find an independent study on the effectiveness of Flock's ALPR cameras. I did find one study authored by an executive of Flock Safety and 2 independent criminologists. If the conflict of interest wasn't enough, it also states at the beginning, quote, existent research on ALPR effectiveness typically does not attribute crime clearances to ALPRs directly. And then it states, existing research relies either upon handfuls of anecdotal interviews with ALPR-equipped law enforcement agencies or deep dives into the ALPR use data of a single city. So not only is there no independent studies to support Flock's claims of helping to solve 10% of reported crime, there is an ever-growing series of crimes committed by officials with access to Flock systems. The number of examples is ever-growing, but I can list about 4. In Milwaukee, Sedgwick, Greenfield, Bonner Springs, and multiple cities in Florida, officers, detectives, and police chiefs use Flock systems to stalk their spouses for various reasons, literally hundreds of times each. Some convicted on felony charges. I've got faith in our PD, but it is something to be considered. There's a lot of talk I hear public officials and police officials argue that citizens have no, quote, legal expectation of privacy. But the Supreme Court has ruled on multiple occasions that citizens have a reasonable expectation of privacy. Katz versus the United States ruling, for example, determined that a person has a reasonable expectation to privacy when the FBI unconstitutionally bugged a telephone booth that Katz used. The definition of a reasonable expectation of privacy, as stated by the Supreme Court, is an individual who has exhibited an actual expectation of privacy, and the expectation is one that society is prepared to recognize as reasonable. Council members, I am an individual exhibiting an expectation of privacy in a vehicle I own, on roads that I pay for, from law enforcement that works for me, and officials elected by the people and for the people, a people that would recognize said expectation as reasonable.
Thank you,
That's
Mr.
what I got.
Walker.
Thank you.
Brock Neely, address on record. First of all, Mr. Mayor, the person that you honored at the Elks Lodge is Richard Hill, not Mr. Ellis. So I don't know where you got that name from. I'm all right. Go ahead and violate my First Amendment right. Paperwork's being filed pretty soon in the court. You will be sued. I respectfully request that item 4 be pulled from the agenda. Be respectful. Quit being an idiot. Now, in the envelope, one of the items that you're receiving is the FAQs on ASCAP music licensing, as well as the rate schedule for municipalities, and the contract, and the reporting forms. Your RFQ that you have under Scope of Services, Section 4, Sub-Item 5, proposed background audio source providing licensed access to music, is way open-ended. Whoever the contractor is that you issue this to, they can say, oh, well, there's no limit on that. We're going to charge them $5,000 a year for that licensing. When in essence, if you go directly to ASCAP, it's $917 a year for a municipality this size. And you're better off if you do it yourself than trying to rely on somebody else to do that licensing for you. So I'm not against it. I just think you need to do it right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Neely.
Adrian Moraga, address on file. First, thank you for coming when you did the other day. Yeah, and it is Richard Ellis Hill. So that was correct. After that, I was told that there's a special place in hell for making a veteran cry like that. So, but he loved it, man. But anyway, Item 4, I'm all for the downtown system. One thing I always tell my wife when we're in Visalia, I was like, man, I wish Porterville had this. And I said, oh, we always say it. I wish Porterville had this. So I like it. I like it. I really do. And again, I am so for the money for the LINK program and the Kingsview Homeless Reunification Program. I'm glad that's on there and going to go through. And the United Under One Flag proclamation. I think that's awesome. So that's all I got for now. So maybe later I'll have something else.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Please come forward or if you're going to speak. Now's the time.
Everybody wants to be the closer, I guess, huh? Greg Shelton, 88 North Wilford Drive. Now, I'm really for number 4. I'm the one, I like it in Visalia. I was in Hanford this last week. I didn't know they had it in downtown Hanford. It's great. I remember in San Luis Obispo at the farmer's market they have it. It just really adds something to it. I'm not a big fan of 150,000. I was good at 50, not so good at 150. But I like Scott, like Ms. Wagner. But man, I think we need this. It's a no-brainer. If they wanted to beat up on the bus shuttle to the fireworks show or the golf course, I would agree with them. But I think they're a little misguided on this one. All right, looking at the consent calendar, number 5 says ferric chloride. I don't know what it is, but it sounds pretty evil. Number 10. Number 10, hybrid electric vans. I love the word hybrid. Richard, remember 12 years ago when Green Power came in with those horrible buses, we were looking at the Fords, and I don't want to say that Richard was a fan of the Fords, and we didn't pick them for political reasons, and you can see where all those are. So I think this is a great idea, where it's not all electric, hybrids, the way to go. Good idea. I'm a fan of the Summer Festival, the Backpacks and Beyond, the Watermelon Festival. I'm just odd that no one's talking against it after all the brouhaha about the car show, you know what I mean? I appreciate that you're going to help the Tule River Tribe. As Vice Mayor and Councilman Rivas, we went up on Cow Mountain Road a month or 2 ago, and Cow Mountain Road can any help it can get, it needs. The change for the municipal code, that's going to be a public hearing. I'm going to talk on that a little bit. Oh, and then Acevedo. Acevedo's been here as long as I can remember. I saw him in plain clothes the other day, and I wondered what was happening. I thought maybe he was going to a funeral or something. I didn't realize he got a promotion, but I couldn't think of a guy that deserved it most, man. He's been great. He's been here as long as I have, longer. So anyway, attaboy Acevedo. All right, and then the last thing is this. How many times? 52 seconds. All right. On the shuttle bus for the Freedom Fest, and I was here when we did that a long time ago, and I remember we didn't get much ridership for it. So maybe after this one, let's see what the ridership is and see if it's really, really worth it, because if it's not, maybe that's a little money we can use for the PA system. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Hi, my name's Lee. I'm Lee Qualls, records on file. I sit back here and whether I agree with people or not, I try to find the positive in what people say. And I want to thank the lady with the ponytail sitting in the back. She said something that I 100% agree with, and that is we should not have people calling people names in here. And I started thinking back, and I thought, I've never heard any of you call anybody names from here. I've never heard you belittle people from here. And I appreciate that. Thank you. All the name calling, all the belittling, and all the rude remarks come from this microphone. So I agree with her 100%. Everybody needs to respect everybody in here, not call names. You guys are our elected officials, whether we agree with what you do or not. You're our elected officials. We do have freedom of speech, but we need to do it respectfully, just as you guys sit there respectfully while we comment. So thank you guys for what you do.
Thank you, Mr. Qualls.
Wendy Ferguson. 26 years I worked for this city, and every one of them in field services. I worked my way up from a clerical assistant to a superintendent running multiple departments, one of which was solid waste. Then 3 more with the city of Visalia as a public works manager and interim public works director. I've forgotten more about solid waste than any of you will ever know. So no, you don't
Ma'am.
need to sit up there on your little perch and tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about. Someone at the last council meeting said, the people who knows what's happening is what we are told. Who is that exactly? The yes men you seem to surround yourselves with? The people with zero solid waste experience? The ones who only tell you what you want to hear? Those people? Do you even bother to try and educate yourself about any of it, or does that take too much effort? Have any of you even read the operational review that we paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for that tells you what can be accomplished with actual effort and investment? 2-day service, and eventually single day. And if you make the needed improvements to our transfer station, the entire fleet won't have to make multiple trips to the landfill, and the electric trucks you rattle on about could finish a route. How about you hire someone that actually wants to do the job instead of shuffling it from one director to another because no one wants to deal with it? Please explain to me what trash has to do with transportation. Someone also mentioned not knowing the numbers. Well, here's a number, $2 million a year. That's what will still be needed to cover expenses that don't magically go away even if you outsource. Were you told that? So what department is going to be gutted to cover that hole? Finance, because that's the most recent department head you've managed to run off. You also say that our employees still have a job with whatever company you sell out to, but you can't guarantee that. What if any of them choose not to work for whoever you're making your backroom deals with? Then what? Will you try to make them sign papers saying they voluntarily resign? And if they do sign, then they can't get an employment, and they certainly won't be offered a severance package. So they get screwed all the way around. And so will our citizens, because you can't guarantee there won't be continual rate increases either, because privatization always comes with a hefty price tag. There's not one legitimate business or financial reason behind any of this, and it certainly isn't for the betterment of the city or our citizens. And since you've already had the solid waste fleet appraised, selling out seems to be full steam ahead, torpedoes locked and loaded. And for what? And just like a little kid in a candy store, you'll blow whatever millions you get on some shiny new monument you're scheming up in your happy hour meetings that will add even more debt to our already strained budget. Weren't you just blaming past administrations and councils of doing the same thing? You said they were hoping for a windfall to fix things. Well, they certainly didn't take the lazy way out and sell off our assets, did they? And don't think for 1 minute I buy anything you're about to say regarding recent changes made to the solid waste budget tonight either.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm Brian Thoburn, Government Relations Manager for Southern California Edison. It's hard to believe that we're already halfway through the year. And on behalf of SCE, I wanted to provide a brief update on wildfire safety and public safety power shutoffs, otherwise known as PSPS, as we head into summer. As you know, there's a lot of things we can control, but weather is not one of them. And on that note, I'd caution that as we go into summer, we could see more PSPS events this year, given weather conditions, depending on heat, low humidity, and wind. Those are the 3 critical factors that account for fire danger. Now, historically, Porterville hasn't been subjected to safety shutoffs, but that doesn't mean that they won't happen. So it's important for all of us to be prepared. And to that end, please visit our website, sce.com, click on the Outage Safety tab, and it'll contain all of the information that provides the overview on our wildfire safety programs and our PSPS support services for customers. Or contact me, and I'm happy to provide additional information. By raising awareness, we ensure our preparedness and take ownership in the resiliency of our communities. So as always, I want to thank the council, your city manager, Mr. Tree, Chief Cogburn, Fire Marshal Degman, and all of your public safety and city staff for the outstanding continued partnership that Southern California Edison has with the city of Porterville. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thornburg.
My name is Lawana Tate, and my address is on record, and I believe I've met you all at some point in time. The reason I'm here to talk this evening is about the homeless. And I've heard some remarks about people that are homeless, that they're drug addicts, that they choose to live this way. And part of the reason why I wanted to be on the council is to try to do something to fix things. But it hasn't been fixed, I don't think, at all. And I don't know what we're doing towards fixing it. Not making snide remarks. Now, where you've worked, I know a little bit about your background. You work at the Department of Corrections, you work at Porterville Developmental Center, you basically are working in human services with education. And, you know, I had a job where I worked in all of these positions through the years as a crisis worker for Kern County, as a senior PT, as a unit supervisor, as a program director, as a training officer, and I was on the second class of leadership and have been involved in community events and activities for many years. My point is that there's something that we can do to resolve the homelessness. They're not just drug addicts. They all have their personal histories. My aunt, my mother's only sister, was born normal. She fell and hit her head and started having seizure epilepticus. She wound up at Sonoma State Hospital. She was within the first 100 of people that were clients there at that facility. And you don't realize that everybody has their own story. You can't just generalize and say, hey, let's put them in an asylum. Well, you work in an asylum, or at least you have an attitude of someone who does. And you worked with the Department of Corrections. And I know that's a very, very dangerous job, no matter what department you work in. You could be in food service. That's the most dangerous. So I respect what you've done. Public, you work for the school education. You know what you've done in your careers and what you want to do for the future of this city. So homelessness is not something that people choose to be. And you need to understand and educate yourself. Otherwise, maybe you need to analyze why you even ran for these positions to begin with. And I'm not trying to be offensive or insulting. I just really want that to sink in. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Councilman, name is Craig Martin. The reason I'm up here is to speak on behalf of Pecan and also myself, a resident of Porterville. A couple weeks ago, we got a little shade thrown on us from the Vice Mayor in an article that he wrote, trying to associate us with a felon and people out there who are watching, people who are back here listening. I think that was unprofessional to associate what we have done, what we're doing, to somebody who just might have spoke to some of the things that we spoke to and making that association. One of the reasons that we are here and that I am here is to make people informed of what happens in council. I think it's easy for people to come up here and berate you guys. I think it's easy to say negative things about you. I was in the restaurant industry for 25 years, and it's easier to complain that it is a compliment. So I know there's things that you guys have done that's hard in your position, the streets, improving downtown, and I think you guys should receive credit for that when those things are done. But I think it's important that people speak up when things are not done right, or people should be concerned. I made a comment before when I spoke that probably 90% of the constituents or residents in the city have no idea what happens in this city, what happens in this council. 5 people make tremendous decisions that affect everybody in the city, and a majority of them have no idea what you guys are doing. So that's why we're here. Another thing that I want to bring up is that anybody who's watching, you guys probably already know about it. There was an opinion article that was written in the Recorder on Wednesday the 27th. I suggest that everybody probably go back and find that article and read it. You'll be surprised what is in it that might make reference to what's going on here. I'm kind of running out of time to read anything, so I might bring it up in the second session. But one of the things that I wanted to stress, since I don't have as much time, is there's a paragraph in here where it says the population that stays home will be governed. A population that shows up will shape what governs them. That's why I think it's important that people tune in to YouTube, show up for these meetings. Again, not to berate you guys, but to make sure what's going on. And not everybody agrees with you guys, and you guys have to understand that 60,000 people in the city can't be controlled by 5 people with not taking their consideration into hand.
Thank you, Mr. Martin.
Good evening, gentlemen. My name is Taha Saleh. I'm a resident, and I'm here on my own behalf. It's good to see you guys. I did notice that, Mr. Rivas, I want to comment you on your outfit. It looks really nice. I love the colors. And thank you again for volunteering to be in this position. I know it's, again, it's not, sometimes it's thankless. So I really appreciate your time. I wanted to thank you for allowing me to be on the Talk Committee. We had a meeting I think it was this week, I think. My days are getting jumbled. Last week, right. And I guess my plea is for the people in the public, these are some invaluable rooms to be in. I mean, you get to take care of the city's business. You get to meet people. You get to meet people like Jerry Hahn, Ray Strawn, and Sean Byers. I get to be in the room with all these gentlemen again. I take every opportunity to do that, and I just invite the public. It's not a lot of time. It really isn't. But what you get out of it is so invaluable, and the city needs our help. Somebody just made a point, like, you know, these 5 people have so much to handle, and I'm sure they create these opportunities for us to come and give feedback. And I thank you for the presentation you made. You made some, you talked about the challenges that are in the city, and you're receptive. My experience is, Mr. Trees, you're a very receptive leader, so I really appreciate you for doing that. And 2 weeks ago, I made a comment about the issue I was having with unhoused population, and I mischaracterized it as that the police and the city council don't care. That was totally wrong. As soon as I walked away, I had an officer talk to me and say, "How can I help you?" Mr. Mayor, you called me and said, "Taha, how can I help you?" And I've always experienced you that way. And the police chiefs, "How can we help you?" The issue is you guys don't have the tools. There's nowhere to put them to live. They need somewhere to live. So every time you pick them up, you take them to jail, you let them out, and they're right back where they're at. And I know downtown's getting cleaner, but by golly, they're in front of my store on Henderson and at Westfield in our neighborhoods. So I want to be a part of the solution. I think we should all be a part of the solution. I know it costs money. I can just speak for myself. I'm willing to pay more. I just need to know where it's going. I've never been about cut my taxes. It's all about where's my taxes going. If you can show me where it's going, I'll happily pay. And I think a lot of the people that I've talked to in this community are the same way. It's not cut my bill, it's where's my bill going? Because I don't want to pay $10 for water if it's not going to come out and it's not clean. I want clean water. I want my trash picked up. I want clean food, good food, right? And part of that is shelter and a place to sleep. Sometimes we get too far ahead of ourselves and how can we do the basics? And I applaud you, gentlemen, for taking fire and trying to do that, and I just hope, can we just do that, please, while we do the other stuff? Let's not forget the basics. I'm grateful for you guys. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Saleh.
Good evening, Mayor Meister, members of the City Council, city managers, and staff. I am Dr. Larry Ann Torres, Chair of the Porterville Chamber of Commerce. My address is 100 South Westwood Street, Porterville. I'm here this evening on behalf of the Porterville Chamber of Commerce to provide an update on upcoming chamber activities and community events. The chamber continues to support local businesses and strengthen community engagement through a variety of networking, leadership, and economic development opportunities. Our upcoming events include this Friday, mark your calendars for the First Friday Coffee at Eagle Mountain Casino in their tap house at 7 a.m. There's also a ribbon cutting for the Kids Global Corporation on June 10th at noon. The Sierra Hills Grand Reopening ribbon cutting will be on June 16th at 2:00 p.m. The Coffee with the Chamber CEO will be on Wednesday, June 17th at 9 a.m. at Stafford's Chocolates. A ribbon cutting for the Innovate Her STEM Girls Camp, which is a partnership between American Association of University Women and Porterville College, will be held on June 22nd at 11:00 a.m. There's also a multi-chamber business after-hours event at Eagle Mountain Casino, and that will be held on June 25th at 6:00 p.m. A ribbon cutting for Julia's Beauty Bar will be on June 30th at noon. And then looking ahead, applications for Leadership Porterville will open on July 7th with an information session scheduled for July 22nd at 6:00 p.m. The Chamber's Junior CEO program will be held July 20th through July 24th, providing local students with valuable entrepreneur experiences. Participants will showcase their businesses during a community event on August 1st. Registration is also now open for the Chamber's Business Showcase, which will take place on October 9th. Finally, nominations are currently being accepted for the Man of the Year, Woman of the Year, Large Business of the Year, Small Business of the Year, and Nonprofit of the Year. Nomination forms are available on the Chamber's website at portervillechamber.org. And I also want to thank Mayor Meister, all the city council members for your continued support of the Porterville Chamber of Commerce and our local business community. Thank you guys for your work.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
My voice is cutting out a little bit, my allergies, so you'll have to excuse
Pull
me.
the mic down closer so
Hi.
people online can hear you.
Okay. Hi, my name is Shannon Corbett. Please bear with me. My allergies right now have got my voice crackling. I work with a group called Start Animal Rescue, and it's a nonprofit animal rescue, and they have worked with the City of Porterville's Animal Control Division in obtaining grants in the past. In fact, I think they've gotten 3 substantial grants for the animal control over the past few years. One for the it was like the pet pantry where we did flea medication, pet food to the citizens of Porterville that needed assistance, and spay and neuter. Recently, Kaya had acquired another grant for the city in the amount of over $80,000. It was awarded in February of this year. It's just waiting on approval for the city council in order for the spay and neuter to start happening for the community or the city of Porterville. I was just wanting to find out what can we do to help get this onto the agenda so we can get this approved, so we can start spaying and neutering in the city of Porterville.
If you'd leave your information with staff, that's a good starting point. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, I'm not seeing anyone else. We'll move on to council comments. Councilman Beltran, do you have any comments?
Lots of great information, lots of good comments. Thank you, everyone, for participating in that. The only one I'll reference right now is talking about the homeless. Just, I think, yesterday, the new Porterville Rescue Mission on A Street advertised that they're going to have a tri-tip sandwich and potato salad fundraiser dinner for $15. They'll happen on June 6th from 3 to 6 p.m. on 30 South A Street. If anybody's interested, the phone number is 559-202-9157 or 559-782-6379. So that's a way to get a meal, but also help organizations in our community that are trying to help individuals in that situation. That's all.
Thank you, Councilman Beltran. Councilman Green? Councilman Rivas?
Well, thank you for all those comments. I was not used to kind words in the past. They've always been negative and dart throwing at us, but I appreciate that. Thank you. You know, we do have heart up here. It's just, you guys left me speechless. You left me speechless with the statements that you made, because over the year and a half I've been up here, it's been nothing but negative towards us, towards me, towards everybody. So if this is a new leap, I appreciate that. Thank you. And I will, you know, it's not that we haven't listened to you or I haven't listened to you. It's just that after a while, when you get thrown darts so much, you just, you know, you just focus on doing the right thing for the city. And not that I wasn't listening to you or we weren't listening to you. It's just, you know, a person can only take so much. But the thing is I appreciate those kind words, and hopefully we can make a new leap, and hopefully we can focus on the main thing of putting Porterville back on the right path, and we can work together and collaborate. So with that, I'll turn that with you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Rivas. Vice Mayor McCurvey.
Oh, no, just a lot of great comments tonight. You're always going to have people that are negative, so that's just expected. But it seemed to be turning more positive. I love the opening prayer today. I already said that once. I'll say it again. The opening prayer really sets the tone for the evening. We really want to focus on unity. The condescending attitudes about we know better, you should learn more, and all that, those things are tedious. But I really liked the conversation. Lee Qualls came up and said some really nice things tonight, positive about his experience. And it was nice to see Brian Thoburn here talking about what we're going to do this summer and what to expect with possible outages with Southern California Edison. And really great to see Shannon Corbett here. I know she may have already left, but we want to make sure that we continue to partner with them and with our animal shelter and working on that spay and neutering program, because we really need it. There's still a lot of animal challenges out there, and it's a community effort. I really appreciate them coming in. Just mostly positive tonight. I'm really happy to hear that, and looking forward to the next part of the agenda. Thank you.
Yes, no, tonight we set the tone, right? We got the budget, so it'll be fun looking into it and going forward. I'm going to put one of the staff on the spot just real quick, but just talking to the homeless and providing services and some of the things that the city's doing in good light. Ms. Weaver, if you'd help me answer, we are doing some work at the Navigation Center currently right now, building the cafeteria, restrooms, the ability to shower, going in. Could you be a little more elaborative on that?
Sure. We're currently working about 70% done, doing an expansion there that will provide a multi-use building. Essentially, it'll have a warming kitchen, so we can bring food in and keep it warm and get it prepared, distributed to them.
Yeah.
It can also potentially allow a cooling and warming center during the day and evenings, since their services will be provided there. It'll be a permanent shower and restroom area and offices on site for additional help and staff to be there, or for regional aid to come in and help services. So it's a much needed improvement. I don't know if anyone's driven by, but I feel both as an employee and a citizen very proud of how it's coming along and how it's looking. We obviously have put some care into it to make it look both appealing and inviting and like a happy place you want to be at. So very, very
I
proud
love
of
that. And I thank you for stating it beautifully that way, because we do care, and we're doing our best with the resources we have. And so I appreciate the hard work from the city staff to deliver on that and help these people that are experiencing homelessness, and we'll continue inching away the best that we can. So thank you for that. That's the only thing I wanted to highlight, and we'll move on to consent calendar. All consent calendar items are considered routine and will be enacted in one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these matters unless a request is made, in which event the item will be removed from the consent calendar. All items removed from the consent calendar for further discussion will be heard at the end of scheduled matters. How would council like to go forward?
I'd like to pull item number 4.
Okay, we have a request for item 4. Is there any other items? Okay, I'll go ahead and make a motion. I motion all consent calendar items 1 through 15, except for agenda item number 4.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a first and a second. If there's no other comments, we'll call for the vote. Passes 5-0. All right, moving right along to our first public hearing of the night. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. We have 2 public hearings tonight. The first one is adoption of a mitigated negative declaration and approval of the Tule River Tribe Complete Streets and 2 pedestrian bridge project. And I've asked Director Dignam to provide the staff report.
Thank you, City Manager. Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. The proposed Tule River Tribe Complete Streets and 2 pedestrian bridges project is located entirely on the Tule River Indian Reservation. The project includes the construction of 2 pedestrian bridge crossings intended to improve pedestrian connectivity and safety throughout the village area of the reservation. Generally, the project would provide safer routes for Tule River Tribe pedestrians to cross the South Fork of the Tule River to access educational, governmental, recreational, and community facilities. The project components include replacement of the existing pedestrian swinging bridge, a new pedestrian bridge to connect Cow Mountain Road and the corridor to the Justice Center, Class 1 trail, approximately 3,765 square feet of concrete sidewalk, 7 accessible curb ramps, 2 streetlights for the North Reservation Road corridor, 8 new solar-powered rectangular rapid flashing beacons, 2 raised pedestrian crossings, reconfiguration of the back-in angled parking stalls, landscaping and irrigation for the length of the project, signing and pavement delineation improvements for the corridor, including pedestrian bridge crossings. Pursuant to CEQA, the city prepared an initial study mitigated negative declaration for the proposed Tule River Tribe Complete Streets and 2 pedestrian bridges project. On April 16, 2026, the environmental coordinator made a preliminary determination that the mitigated negative declaration would be appropriate for the proposed project in light of the studies prepared and with implementation of defined mitigation measures related to biological resources, cultural resources, tribal cultural resources, geology and soils, and mandatory findings of significance. The initial study mitigated negative declaration was circulated for a 30-day public review period beginning April 28, 2026, and ending May 27, 2026. During the public review period, the only comments received were from the California Department of Fish and Wildlife regarding biological resource mitigation measures and project implementation requirements. The city's contract planner and their team helped evaluate these comments and helped staff complete the required responses and updates to the mitigated monitoring and reporting program for tonight's meeting. The following is a summary of the response to the comments. The foothill yellow-legged frog. We agree, and measures are being added to the MMRP. Crotch's bumblebee. We agree with their proposed edit to the measures, and additional measures are being added as well to the MMRP that will only be relevant if they are actually found. Bats. Existing measures are being updated accordingly. California spotted owl. We disagree. We can already see there is not enough required canopy cover for this species to nest within the site, and it is unlikely they would travel to this area during the winter. Pond turtle. It is highly unlikely that they will be found in this area, but measures are being added to the MMRP. Springville clarkia. We disagree. The site is below the range for this species, and biological evaluation covers their exclusion from the MMRP. Following the close of the public hearing and council consideration, applicable comments received during the public review period, including comments from the California Department of Fish and Wildlife, as previously explained, will be incorporated into the final mitigation monitoring and reporting program and project implementation documents. Based on the environmental analysis contained within the ISMND and implementation of the mitigation measures identified therein, staff has determined that the project will not result in a significant effect on the environment. The recommended actions are that the City Council hold the noticed public hearing to receive public testimony regarding the proposed project, and adopt the updated draft resolution adopting the initial study mitigated negative declaration and mitigation monitoring and reporting program, and approving the Tule River Tribe Complete Streets and 2 Pedestrian Bridges project. Staff is available for questions, and Ryan McKelvey from our consultant city planners team is online as well.
Thank you, sir. Okay, at this time, we'll open the public hearing at 7:46. If you have any comments, please come forward at this time.
Real quick, if we could just share, there was a slight update to both the resolution and the MMRP that was published, incorporating those comments, addressing the responses to the comments from the Fish and Wildlife. So it's a slight change, and copies are in the back for the public as well, and Fernando's distributing them.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
We ready?
Go ahead, Mr. Shelton.
Greg Shelton, 88 North Willowford Drive. I was kind of surprised to see this because it's all in the reservation. It's a sovereign nation. I didn't know that we were ever enlisted to do this kind of stuff before, but I'm glad because we're trying to rebuild a relationship, and this is a good step toward it. When I looked at the project, as I said, I've been up there recently, and I've been up Cow Mountain Road, and that's a wild ride itself. And so anything that would make that safer, I'm a big fan of. Swinging bridges, I think of Indiana Jones when I think of swinging bridges, you know what I mean? So again, I'm thinking it's probably something you want to repair pretty frequently. And then I remember on that same trip, we were talking to the chief and the vice chairman, the chairman and the vice chairman, and he was speaking about, and I didn't realize this, is that there's really only one, between both sides of the river, there's really only one road that goes across it. So if you live up, I just figured they cut across the riverbed, but that's not true. They have to come down sometimes miles to go across that one access. And so we went to a funeral up there, and they were speaking about how to get to the funeral, how you had to come up a lot of roads. So again, it sounds like it looks like a really elaborate deal. I read or skimmed it rather. And I'm glad that we're working with the tribe and hope we can build something for them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shelton. Okay, I'm not seeing anyone else. We will close the public hearing at 7:48 and bring it back to the council. And echoing Mr. Shelton, former councilman of the city of Porterville, I'd like to think our relationship is in a good place. I see them as partners today, in the sense of, the casino is now down in the city, and we're working together, and this is the continued collaboration in that effort. And so this has been in the makings from the flood of '23, when it washed out their pedestrian bridge. But this is also in partnership with TCAG. So it's really an alliance of TCAG, the city of Porterville, and the Tule River Tribe. I want to say thank you to city staff for leaning on this. Ms. Weaver, I know you went up and actually went and looked at the site and have been working with tribal staff, and I imagine tribal council as well, and it's been a lot of hard work to get where we're at. I know former Director Sanchez also was instrumental in this, and so I just want to say thank you to all the partners in delivering on this project and just lead with that. Council, if you have any comments, you're more than welcome to speak freely. I'm looking for a motion.
I'll just briefly state, myself and Councilmember Rivas sit on the PATA committee. That's the kind of partnership with the tribe. Initially, it's for the casino and the tertiary plant, but this came about, like the mayor stated, about the floods and some work that needed to be done up there. And because their departments don't have an engineering or planning department, TCAG was tasked to find somebody to assist them through this process, which where the city came in, and not only does it help them, but also helps our staff in these new kind of projects, working with federal monies because of federal agencies involved and the county, the environmental groups. You can see these reports, very thorough with the staff. Thank you, Director Dingham, for that. But I just want to the mayor's point, come with some back history. But again, 3 years I've been on council, this project has been on there. It just takes so long to go through this process. So just kind of to the mayor's point, just a little bit of history, and great to see this finally come, because during our PATA meetings, for the PATA to Chair Shine, the representative, talked about how vital it is, because there is a big gap in being able to cross without those bridges, and so it's very vital for them.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I think this is the bridge version. Hey, great job with your presentation, Clayton. Thank you for keeping it short and hitting the high points. I really appreciate the detail. When we were up at the tribe, and we continue to build our relationship with the tribe, if you can imagine, I'll just describe this for you. Imagine crossing the Tule River down here by the Parkway. It's a lot bigger and wider than that. And so imagine now having to walk, all the way across town to try to cross the Tule River. And this is the challenge that they have to get to their main building and their event centers over there. So it's a great project, and it's taken a long time to get here and a lot of effort. And thank you very much for the staff for all the time that you guys put in here and building that partnership and showing the leadership to get that done, even with our partners in another area. So I think it's an excellent takes way too long, but it's an excellent way for us to show good faith and an excellent way for us to help them out in an area where they need our help a little bit. And we're looking forward to delivering those results for the tribe and with the tribe so that we can continue to build that relationship.
And I just got to state, I know it feels like a long time, but in my time serving on council, what you just showed there was 3 inches of an environmental document. And doing that in less than 3 years is actually very well done, right? Because 23 was the flood, and then we were into 24, here we are. And it took time to build up to that, going through FEMA and everything else. So outstanding job. Councilman Rivas, I know you were wanting to jump in.
Mr. Brigham, I want to say thank you for your leadership. Mrs. Weaver, thank you also for your leadership and bringing this to fruition. And I do remember when I went up there with Mr. Shelton and the vice mayor and took a tour of their reservation. They do need this, and I am in support of this. And but if you are ever over there, stop at that one restaurant, because they will serve you humongous burgers that you will not finish. Trust me. I paid for them out of my own pocket, but still. I mean, the relationship that we need with the tribe is we need it, because we are not going to go away. They're not going to go away. So we need to work together. And if there's no other questions, I'm going to motion to recommend staff number 2.
I will second that motion. You have a comment, Council? No. Okay, we have a first and a second. If no other comments, we'll call for the vote. Give it to me. Oh, Councilman Green. Roll call vote, Fernando.
Councilmember
Please.
Rivas.
Aye.
Councilmember Green. Councilmember Beltran.
Aye.
Vice Mayor McCurvey.
Aye.
Mayor Meister.
Aye, passes 5-0. Okay, moving on to our second public hearing. City Manager.
Yes, sir. Mayor, members of the council, this public hearing is in regards to an amendment to the Porterville Development Ordinance, Section 301.01, related to accessory structure setbacks. And I've asked Director Zabala to provide the staff report, and I believe we also have an updated ordinance as well that we need to provide to council ahead of
That
time.
we do. Fernando will be handing out copies to the city council, and we do have some additional copies in the back for the public. But I will go ahead and explain what the revision is when I get to that part of the staff report. Thank you, Mr. Tree, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and members of the city council. In a continuing effort to accommodate practical and efficient use of residential property, staff is proposing amendment to Porterville Development Ordinance, PDO, Section 301.01, related to accessory structures. The proposed amendment is intended to provide additional flexibility for property owners seeking to construct detached garages, storage buildings, workshops, and similar accessory structures within residential properties. Currently, detached accessory structures may encroach into setback areas only when located within the rear 1/3 of a lot. Staff is proposing that the allowable area for such encroachments be increased to the rear 1/2 of a lot, while also establishing a minimum setback distance for privacy purposes. The proposed amendment provides greater flexibility for residential lot development while maintaining compatibility with surrounding properties and neighborhood character, consists solely of revisions to development standards, and does not authorize any specific use or activity. Accordingly, the proposed ordinance is exempt from CEQA pursuant to CEQA guidelines because it can be seen with certainty that the amendment will not have a significant effect on the environment. As Mr. Tree mentioned, subsequent to the publication of the agenda, the draft ordinance was amended to provide additional clarity. The revised ordinance is provided to the council and again is available in the back for the public. The revision to section 301.01 subdivision B, paragraph 6 reads, I will not read the entire ordinance because while short for an ordinance, it's still rather long. So I will just read the paragraph that is being amended, which is setbacks, detached accessory buildings shall not be located closer than 4 feet to any rear property line. In instances where the rear property line is coterminous with an alley right-of-way, the accessory building shall not be closer than 1 foot to such rear property line. When located in the rear one-half of a lot, detached accessory structures shall not be located closer than 4 feet to any side property line. Detached accessory buildings shall meet all other setback requirements of the main building. With that, staff recommends that the City Council conduct a public hearing to receive public testimony regarding the proposed amendment to PDO Section 301.01 related to accessory structure setbacks, introduce and waive first reading of the revised ordinance amending Section 301.01 of the PDO, read by title only, and order the ordinance to print. Staff is available for questions, as well as our contract planner, Ryan McKelvey, is also attending via Zoom.
Thank you, ma'am. Go ahead, Fernando.
Yes, Your Honor, before we get to the public hearing, I did want to note for the record that the city received a written correspondence via email from Stephanie Hernandez. That correspondence was forwarded over to the City Council and will be incorporated into and maintained as part of the official record for the public hearing.
Thank you, sir. Okay, at 7:58, we'll open the public hearing. If you have any comments, come forward at this time.
Greg Shelton, 88 North Williford Drive. I'm just up in everything tonight, it seems like. I'm probably the inspiration from this young lady. I asked her what she thought about the new council and what she thought about the council, and Greg Shelton, 88 North Williford Drive. But anyway, she said that she kind of detailed me a story from 2 or 3 years ago in a situation where a lady had a large backyard and had a pool and wanted to put a sunshade for children, and when she tried to bring it down here, staff, through no fault of theirs, it's because of our incredibly elaborate municipal and development ordinance, couldn't do it. And it started out as a setback where it was typically all setbacks on side yards are 5 foot. I think it's a fire code. In this situation, it turned out to be 15 feet. So her husband had poured a slab in anticipation of, he made it 5 foot off the property, what he thought was a property line, only to find out that the property line wasn't there. Anyway, so all the suggestions were conditional use permits. So it seemed like the thing that you campaigned about, and I brought it, and I got the okay from Mr. Tree to delegate it, or to get Mr. Dignam and Sarah to get on it, and Clayton had something done in 7 days. It took about 2 months for Mr. O'Neill to kind of clean up the language and get it to us. And it's wonderful. I think it's great. She's going to be able to have her pavilion and, for her children. But what bothers me is it's probably the poster child for what's wrong with our development ordinance. 600 pages is good, Mr. Tree, but we need another 300 taken out of it. Because this is one of those things that it shouldn't take this long, and it shouldn't cost this much to put a sunshade in the backyard, for your children. So anyway, I hope that you move this forward, and then I hope that we, and I know we're gonna, but I like Mr. Tree's method of, if he says a little good, a lot's a lot better. And if I ask him to take one out, he takes a page out. So anyway, I think we should do some more of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shelton. I'm not seeing anyone else. We'll close the public hearing at 8 o'clock and bring it back to the council. Does council have any comments?
I have a couple just for clarity. What I always like to understand is why it was set at 1/3. I don't know, Mr. O'Neill's not available today, but is there a reason why the standard had been 1/3 of the back lot? Do we know like the history or why that's like a standard Because I know it's a lot of places do, some don't. I just didn't know, do we have any historical record of why that precedent was set? Okay.
I don't.
If we don't have a technical answer from the city planner, thank you, Mr. Shelton. That's fine. I was just understanding.
I do.
Okay. If you want to make it, okay.
Yeah, let's hear it. Come up to the mic.
Okay. Swear under oath?
Greg Shelton. Hey, there's no Willow for Dried. Hey, I actually had the same question, and because I kept going, well, there's got to be a reason here, some important fire code or safety measure, and so I started quizzing everybody, and nobody knew, and it had to do with reverse corner lots where one house might be oriented perpendicular to the other, that would require then 2 different offsets, and the fences wouldn't line up. And I said, are you kidding me? That's what this is about. In this situation, turns out there's only one house there anyway, so even if it is a reverse corner lot, it doesn't really apply. But when I asked, and Mr. O'Neill told me, I'm not throwing him in the bus, but Mr. O'Neill said he looked back on it too, and he said in the 50s, it looked like whoever did general plans, municipal codes in that era kind of did it for everybody in the county, did about 10 of them, because they're very similar. And so he couldn't see why it was in there either. And it's one of those, about my story about the mom that with the pot roast where they cut them off, and her granddaughter and her granddaughter wonder why, and then to get to the great-grandma, and she said, well, that's the only size of the pan we had. No one knows. So it's not a question of what are we taking away, it's a question of why was it there in the first place? And at the risk of getting fact-checked and then embarrassed by the mayor, I probably voted for this. You know?
So I've talked to Mr. O'Neill about other ordinances, and he kind of says the same. He's an expert in the industry, and he says the same thing. I'm not sure why. There are those one-offs, and thank you for that explanation, because that was my only concern with this one, because, and I'll give an example, is
You can sit down, Mr. Shelton.
on the
Thank
front
you.
of, on a frontage, like we have fence ordinances where the fences can only be so high, you've got to be able to see through because pedestrians, bicyclists, safety. And so I just worry about these kind of one-offs if this is, it's one thing what's in the back of your yard, but if you have an alley or this is going to be permitted on the side of a yard that might come out into a sidewalk, you can have something that's 15 feet tall that's just 4 feet away from the sidewalk, and that could create a safety issue. That's my only concern. And I could see that might be, that's why I like the conditional use permit process, because probably 99% of the time it doesn't have a problem, but I just don't like to blanket it, do that. I hope that there's a review process, that there's not a safety component to this. But I don't want to hold this up for those one-offs, but I always want to be mindful of those one-offs.
Thank you, Councilman Beltran. Are there any other comments?
Yeah, I had the go ahead.
This is Ryan McKelvey, contract planner at Provost and Pritchard. And I just wanted to note that the 1/3 doesn't really apply here because that's just the backyard in itself. So 4 feet is the standard. And, you know, it doesn't really, the 1/3 part doesn't really, it's irrelevant in this instance.
That's good.
Thank you. That was much faster than Greg Shelton, too. I appreciate that.
I just summarized what he said.
Yeah.
All right. You were about to say something.
Well, I was
Vice
going
Mayor.
to say, I had the privilege of reading the thank you letter from the person that was involved in this, and it's going to be in the record for everybody to read, but it was very frustrating, and I think if our former councilman Shelton didn't come forward and get involved in this, and if we didn't have some will to go in and really try to do the right thing, we wouldn't be here doing the right thing tonight. Thank you guys for getting involved in this. It exposes something that we have too much of, and I know you guys spent a lot of time on this, and I know you kind of saved this project because it took a long time and there was a lot of frustration there. Thank you for doing the work to get that done and bringing it to this point. This is a common sense solution. In these situations, I don't think bringing a conditional use permit is a good idea at all, ever. So we should look for other things like this and continue to fix them, and then continue to take more regulations out like this that don't make sense. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Councilman Rivas, you got a...
Yeah, I don't have the eloquent statement like Mr. Vice Mayor said. I have a statement for that, but I'm going to go ahead and read the report that I wanted to support on this, and it goes like this. You know, I support of this review process surrounding Section 301.01 of the Development Ordinance. When government is willing to look critically at its own regulation and ask whether existing restrictions still serve the public, that is good governance. That is what this review represents, and I really believe that. Section 3001.01 was written at a particular point in time reflecting assumptions about what belonged in a residential zone. Times change. Property owners have legitimate needs that existing restrictions were never designed to accommodate. An ordinance is not automatically right simply because it's already on the books. In question, overly restrictive standards do not protect neighborhoods. They create unnecessary barriers for residents who want practical, cost-effective use of their own property. Deregulation done transparently through a public process is not a threat to community standards. It is an update to them. So I encourage this council to complete what we just went through and adopt the standards that reflect where Porterville is today. And with that, I motion to go forward and
I love it. That was very well done, Councilman Rivas, and I second your motion. And I just like to fact check one thing. We took the development ordinance from 600 pages down to 400 pages. But I'm kind of an extremist. We want to cut another 300 out. You know, we might do the dance. But I do want to say thank you, Greg Shelton, for leading on this, bringing it to staff's attention, and then city staff for delivering. And then Stephanie Hernandez wrote a fantastic letter, email. This is the right thing to do. It's that simple. It's applying common sense going forward. And many of you gentlemen here on the dais campaigned on reducing regulation, and this is how we deliver. Once again, staff, thank you for meeting the will of the people, so I appreciate it. Okay, we have a first and a second. We'll call for the vote.
A roll call vote. Councilmember Rivas?
aye.
Councilmember Green? Aye. Councilmember Beltran?
Aye.
Vice Mayor McCurvey?
Aye.
Mayor Meister?
Aye, passes 5-0. Moving on to schedule matter.
Your Honor, read by title only.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, sure.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Porterville amending Section 30101 of the Porterville Development Ordinance regarding accessory structures.
Thank you, sir. I thought we did that on the second reading.
It's both.
Got to do it for both. I appreciate it. Thank you. Moving on to schedule matter number 18. City
Thank you,
Manager.
Mayor, members of the council. This is the first of 3 scheduled matters tonight. This is in regards to the presentation of our proposed fiscal year 2026-2027 budget and the scheduling of a public hearing. I just have some brief comments, and I want to start out by first recognizing some individuals that did an outstanding job. When challenges came their way, they stepped up and did a fantastic job. They really are, these individuals got us here today. And so first off, I want to recognize our acting finance director, Tricia Whiteley, and as well as our accountant, Hilda Gomez. They're both individuals that are standing right here, or sitting right here. So appreciate their help. I also want to share my appreciation towards our directors, each one of them, and their staff, our staff, for the work on this budget as well. The proposed budget for council's consideration, it represents much more than a financial plan. It is a reflection of the priorities established by the City Council, the needs of our community, and our commitment to responsible stewardship of public resources. Over the past year, we have continued transitioning the city toward a more proactive organization focused on performance, accountability, modernization, and long-term sustainability. The proposed budget reflects that continued transition. The budget before you tonight proposes an approximate $37.1 million in revenues with $36.6 million in expenditures, resulting in a modest projected surplus of approximately $266,000, rounding up. During the budget development process, staff identified challenges and created solutions through strategic cost control measures. The result is a balanced budget that maintains essential services while positioning the city for long-term success. One of the most important aspects of this budget is that it continues strengthening the city's financial foundation. This budget includes an initial contribution of $100,000 towards reducing the deficit within our risk management fund, continues full funding of our golf course and Zild House, maintains responsible reserve levels, and continues to address our CalPERS long-term liability. At the same time, it recognizes that the city must continue aligning operational costs with realistic revenue expectations while pursuing economic growth opportunities that expand our tax base and strengthen future revenues. This budget also reflects the City Council's strategic priorities. Among the notable projects included in this year are continued funding for enhancements at Veterans Park and along Main Street, safety improvements along our trail network, pedestrian safety improvements throughout the community, and the continued self-performed street maintenance of 30 lane miles a year. We had a special city council meeting where we went into depth on the proposed capital improvement program, which we are proposing over $106 million in infrastructure investments supported through a combination of local, state, and federal funding resources. These projects include investments in streets, parks, public safety facilities, water, wastewater, airport improvements, transit facilities, and quality of life amenities that will benefit residents for decades to come. This budget also continues our commitment to organizational modernization with the continued investments towards our new permitting software, our new business license software, financial system upgrades, routeware technology for our refuse operation, and other modernization efforts intended to improve efficiency, transparency, and service delivery for our residents and business community. Public safety remains a top priority within this budget. The budget continues significant investments in police and fire services, including radio system upgrades, support for our drone as a first responder program, improvements to Fire Station 71 and 72, and replacement of critical emergency response equipment. These investments help ensure our first responders have the tools necessary to protect our community. Quality of life improvements also remain a major focus. This budget supports continued progress on the Overland Park and Recreation Center, the design of our new library, design of our new sportsplex, and continued investment in recreational facilities and community spaces that improve the overall quality of life for Porterville residents. Finally, this budget continues advancing what the council has termed the Great Pivot. The next generation of Porterville depends on our ability to create jobs, attract investment, support housing development, improve infrastructure, and strengthening our local economy. This budget reflects the shift by emphasizing economic development, operational efficiency, organizational accountability, and strategic investments that position Porterville for long-term growth and success. I'd like to thank the council, our department directors, finance staff in particular, and all the city employees who contributed to developing this proposed budget. Their efforts help secure that the budget presented tonight is balanced, responsible, and aligned with priorities of both the council and our community. Staff requests that the City Council receive the proposed fiscal year 2026-2027 budget, provide any preliminary direction regarding modifications or priorities, and then schedule the required public hearing for June 16th, 2026. And at that time, staff is available to answer any questions regarding the proposed budget.
Thank you, City Manager. And I just want to echo what you said there in the beginning. Amazing job to city staff who have had to step up. There's just no other way to put it, and gone out of their comfort zone and delivered. We haven't had a physical budget on time since 2023. So we've been putting it out, and this is the first year that we're back on track. And so, great job to you guys on delivering this budget, right? To all the directors and finance individuals that stepped up. Thank you. Councilman Rivas, do you have any comments?
I echo everything that you said, Mayor, but what I want to do is I want to stand up and applaud you guys for doing an outstanding job. So everybody in the audience, please, will you stand up and give these people a round of applause, please? Thank you. You guys have made a virtually impossible thing happen, and I really want to applaud you. Thank you so much. I knew when we started this with these audits and so on and so forth, I mean, there was times where I would sleepless nights, so I can just imagine what you guys went through. So I just want to say thank you so much, and with that, I just want to turn that back over to you, Mayor.
Yeah, a lot has been uncovered. I appreciate that, Councilman Rivas. Councilman Beltran, do you have any comments?
No, not this time.
Councilman Green?
Yeah, I think I do. I haven't said much tonight, so I'm going to get a shot in here. Though I do want to thank all the staff. And like AJ said, they did the impossible, but the impossible can be done with hard work.
Yeah.
And I think they've all done that. And you guys got out the whittling knives and really pared down the budgets and your operating costs. And I think now it becomes incumbent on the council up here to do our part and not spend money like a bunch of drunk sailors on shore leave. So I guess you guys they've really done a great job. Oh, and you too, Rich, and maybe even Donnie. We'll throw him in there. And I understand, Trish, you really jumped in and saved the day. So a little extra thanks goes to you. Well, both of you. But anyway, I do appreciate it. You guys, it takes hard work. I know when I was in the ag production industry, I always tell the guys, just give me enough money and I'll spend it for you. All right, thank you. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Councilman Green. Vice Mayor McCurby.
Well, I think standing up and applauding that is really important because we really have reached a milestone. And it's easy to look back and say, okay, armchair quarterback, but think about the trends, right? So the long-term liabilities from 2015 to 2024 went from 106 million to 171 million. It went up 62% in the last 10 years. We went from having a risk management surplus in 2015 of 1.6 million to 10.5 million in debt in 2024. We still have the challenge of the $50 million PERS. These structural problems that have been identified are important for the public to understand. And it's really easy to look at that. Nobody wanted to talk about it. And you can see why a lot of people abandoned ship. Thank you guys for staying on the ship and pulling together and riding the ship. Thank you for your leadership, Mr. Tree, for bringing this together. There's a lot of new players here, but there's a lot of good talent, a lot of good teamwork, and you guys are delivering some great results. And we're managing to face those structural deficits and also deliver roads and deliver community centers and deliver downtown for the people. And I really think that we've done a great thing here. So thanks for asking everybody to stand up and applaud, because it took a lot of hard work. And it's been a couple of years coming because it took a long time to dig all of this out. It's important that we understand it so that we can address it, and I think we've done it here. Thank you very much.
I love that, Vice Mayor. Refuse, decline. With that, I'll make a motion to go forward with staff recommendations.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a first and a second. We'll call for the vote. Passes 4-0 with 1 abstain. Okay, moving on to schedule matter number 19, City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. The second schedule matter is, and I apologize, I said 4 schedule matters. We only have 3. So the second of that, and this is in regards to the calling and consolidation of the November 3rd, 2026 general municipal election. And Director Andrade has made her way up to the podium to provide the staff report.
Thank you, City Manager. Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, and members of the council. The city's next general election will be held on November 3rd, 2026 for the offices currently held by Mayor Greg Meister in District 1 and Councilmember Raymond Beltran in District 2, both of whose terms expire in December 2026. At this time, City Council is required to take actions related to the administration of the election, including calling the election, requesting consolidation with Tulare County, authorizing election services through the Tulare County Registrar of Voters, and determining whether candidate statements will be permitted and how associated costs will be handled. As in prior elections, consolidation would allow the county registrar to manage election administration, include candidate filings, ballot preparation and mailing, vote-by-mail services, polling operations, vote tabulation, certification of results, recounts, and compliance with applicable election laws. The council must decide whether candidates may submit statements of up to 200 words for inclusion in voter information materials, and whether those costs will be paid by the city, the candidates, or shared. Estimated candidate statements costs are approximately $750 per district and will be adjusted after the election based on actual expenses. Historically, the city has used both city-funded and candidate-funded approaches, with candidates paying the cost in the 2024 election. Staff has budgeted approximately $35,000 in the general fund for election-related services for the general election, and the city currently has about 27,469 registered voters. Staff recommendation is that the City Council adopt the draft resolution calling and consolidating the November 3rd, 2026 general municipal election and requesting election services from the Tulare County Registrar of Voters, determine whether candidate statements of 200 words or fewer will be permitted and whether the city or the candidate shall be responsible for the associated costs, authorize the Tulare County Registrar of Voters office to serve as the central counting place for the November 3rd, 2026 general municipal election, and authorize payment to the Tulare County Registrar of Voters upon receipt of an invoice for election services rendered. Staff is available for questions. Let me know if you guys have any.
Thank you, ma'am. Well, I'm going to make it quick. I think that the candidate should have to pay for the process, and I'll make a motion to go with staff recommendations and that.
I'll second
I'll
that.
third it.
Okay. We have a first and a second. Do you have any comments, Councilman Beltran?
Just a quick correction. Mayor is District 2, I'm District 1, just clerical, that's all.
Okay.
Hey, does your motion include not paying? So not number 2, right?
Yeah,
The candidate should have to pay.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I paid.
Yeah, so, okay, we have a first and a second. We'll call for the vote. Passes 5-0. Okay, moving on to schedule matter number 4. Councilman Beltran, you pulled the item. Go ahead, sir.
I believe this, is this the second time this was brought up? I don't know if this was the initial one. This kind of, we've talked about this briefly, I believe, in the past, and I was hoping this would have been tabled to find some other sources of funding. There was public comment earlier that was addressing my main concern of this is Measure I funding that comes from first responders, public safety, and just given the hefty price tag, even if it was half this amount, I wish, let me go through a little journey here of my thought process on this matter. I'm not against having a PA system of some kind to try to help bolster downtown. It's always about, for me, it's always about the funding. A couple of recommendations that I would have considered was, one is the cannabis fund that goes for beautifications and stuff that we want to in the city. We haven't had a cannabis meeting in a while, so I don't know what the funds are for this year or where we're at right now. The last amount that I remember after we did the grant programs, the remaining roughly $38,000 was all given to the police department for a reunification program, which I was against because I wanted to leave money in there for seed money for events like this. Secondly, we just recently approved the entertainment zone. Initially, I was against that because I was worried about the conversation we had after the entertainment zone is talking about reducing the fee amount from maybe $10 to $5. That initial entertainment zone, the thought process was probably twofold, because it wasn't necessarily my idea, but I get it, was to bring downtown revitalization, bring more tax revenue, more engagement. I support that type of stuff. But part of it was the money that we were going to be collecting was then going to go into a fund to support downtown activities, which that makes total sense. However, we've only had one event. I don't know if that was necessarily a profit. The vice mayor stated that there was possibly, $2,000, but we didn't invoice everything yet to see what the overall costs to the city were. If it was $2,000, fantastic. If it was more, it's even better. But I would like to not dip into Measure I money or any of the other funding mechanisms other than the structures that we're trying to build to sustain these types of activities. Comment was made earlier, like Visalia has this. Visalia has a downtown district where they create revenue to support all that type of activity. And so I know we just heard about the budget. The reason I abstain is because there's a lot of issues I have with how the money is being spent. This is the city manager puts this budget together with all the director's input and city council direction, but I think stuff like this is, this is more of a want. And I have concerns when we're constantly talking about hiring freezes and budget constraints. I appreciate the city manager saying, we might have roughly $200 and something thousand after said and done. But if we're living on such a small margin, I really would rather promote entertainment zone activities and looking back at the cannabis fund tax to see if we could supplement these types of asks. I don't feel this is, if we go downtown, as much as we want to bolster it, it's pretty anemic. There's not a lot going on late in the evening. When it's in the midsummer, no one's downtown, it's too hot. When it's midwinter, there's not a lot of people down there. There is a little bit of use for this, but not at this expense for what's going on. So going back again to whether it's the cannabis fund or the entertainment zone fund, where as we accrue funding to look at, and to, I think another public comment talked about, why can't we do this internally for those that want to support downtown infrastructure, that we could buy some speaker systems maybe once a year for those, especially those blocks that might have a little bit more going on all day long. Some of these things close at 5 o'clock or stay open later, to work with more with the downtown merchants or the chamber to see maybe they're a partner that can also go in halves with the funding on this. I just don't like taking money from Measure I to put something like this on the table. I'm supportive of it. I'm kind of getting tired of where the money's coming from. Sometimes it's not what the intention of the money was for. So again, I'm not trying to say I don't support this. I wish we could find more creative solutions to fund it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman Beltran. I believe Vice Mayor McCurvey, was this your motion? Do you want to follow up with comments?
Oh, yeah, I share Councilman Beltran's concerns on Measure I. We just spent $8.3 million of Measure I on the community center. Is that? And if you add the ARPA money, it's $13 million.
Yeah, wasn't it a $22 million project with grants?
You're complaining about Measure I. We just went through an audit of Measure I. We got the budget. I understand your concern, but we need to get this done, and I am going to push it forward. I motion that we go forward with council recommendations.
Okay, we have a motion on the table. Councilman Rivas, do you have any comments?
I yield at this point.
Okay. Councilman Green?
Yeah, well, I'm kind of on the fence, but if you kind of think about it, maybe sleep on it, and you kind of get a little different perspective of it, it might be a return on investment if it helps bring more people downtown, more casual atmosphere, and people are shopping, and maybe pretty soon, hey, the word gets around, people are talking about what a nice to be downtown. They're playing music, or there was informational stuff on it about Maybe Larissa's at furniture, she's got a big sale going on or something, so people would go down and check it out. So I think it, in the long run, may take a few years to actually realize it, but I think it could be some return on the investment.
Livens up the atmosphere. I love that. Now, you kind of sound like a drunken sailor.
I am.
Jumping off a ship here. All right.
On shore leave.
On shore leave. Sorry, I messed that up. Music downtown. Imagine that. The atmosphere, and I love that Councilman Beltran brought up the entertainment zone that could utilize this and create an atmosphere that is fun on Main Street. We're pouring, I believe it's $2.1 million in this budget for the parking lot where the old J.C. Penney's used to stand, right? We've painted the light poles down Main Street. We paved Main Street. We replaced the trees. We have beautified our downtown district. And this is like the final seal to get it done. I hate to spend multi-millions of dollars to get to this point and then say, well, $150,000 for a PA system. It's really tough. I refuse to continue to decline. We want to make an atmosphere that brings our community together, and this is how we do it down on Main Street. It's really it comes down to what's the real cost going to be, because we don't have any quotes. This is just putting it out, and it'll come back, and we'll get a realistic view on what this is going to cost. It could be less, it could be more, and so that'll be a decision this council will have to make when we get there. But I don't think it's going to hurt to look. And really, I think the business owners on Main Street are really going to appreciate it. And when we do have that downtown entertainment zone being exercised, it's going to make a lovely atmosphere. I can imagine Christmas music during the Christmas parade, patriotic music during the Veterans Parade, really exciting opportunities with the PA system. So I will second your motion, Vice Mayor. I think it's the right thing to do is to take a look at this. Councilman Rivas, are you wanting to make a comment?
Yeah, I just have a question. Is this just a preliminary review? I mean, the cost can be lower, or are we looking at other options?
Plain and simple, we're going to look at all options.
Okay.
And that's why we're issuing the RFP. Now, we did some initial homework and spoke to some vendors and got, the dollar amount that we think could accomplish the size of this project. This is not going to be an easy project.
Yes, sir.
For the 6 blocks that we're proposing, plus integrating into existing power systems, it's going to be challenging, but that's why we want to start this project now, issue a request for proposals so we can better understand what technologies are out there, what options are available to the council to consider.
Next question, follow-up question. Let's just say it goes a little bit beyond what is requested here. Is there any way we can, like you said, 6 blocks, is there any way we can get the business owners of those particular blocks to pitch in if they want a speaker into this area, and they can be kind of like owners of that area, and they can feel valued that they partook in something like that? Can we look into that if it goes a little bit beyond the 150 that is requested?
Yeah, sure, and I might defer to the Vice Mayor and Councilman Green that both sit on the downtown committee, and there's been a lot of discussion with the downtown businesses about getting involved. And
okay. Yeah. Then I will support this just as a preliminary, but I'd like to know what the numbers are after that, and then we'll go from there.
It's an interesting thought, Councilman Rivas, and I got to just ask you, I know you got in the 1234 reports, Vice Mayor, with the downtown committee. Is this something that, well, I think that's a dumb question to ask you if they support it, but how vocal are they about this?
Well, when we get to, we can talk about it when we get to the reports, but this is one of the 5 things that they pushed forward. Entertainment zone was one of the 5. There were others that we didn't push forward, but this is one that I think everybody concluded that it would really add a level to what Councilman Green was saying, would really add a level of public support because it changes the mood downtown, and we would do it in time for the Christmas parade that the city is going to be hosting this year.
Yeah.
So they are for it, and I can take this. We can both take this back to the committee and talk about it with them and see if there are some other mechanisms to supplement or offset some of that cost. To Councilman Rivas's point, I don't see anything wrong with that. That sounds like a good discussion.
We could do that. Can't dance unless you try, boys.
Yep.
Okay, well, we have a first and a second. Let's call for the vote. Okay, passes 4-1. All right, moving on to 1234 reports, Tulare County Task Force on Homelessness.
Yes.
Councilman Rivas.
Yes, sir, yes, sir. The meeting was held on May the 20th. It's going to be a little lengthy, and I just want to add that the meeting details was held at the Board of Supervisors building. The key speakers was Dalen McCulley, Fresno County Division Manager, Office of Housing and Homeless. The other was Noah Whitaker, HHSS Behavior, Tulare County Behavior Analyst. McCulley, who was from Fresno, pointed out on December the 25th, they were established by the Fresno County Board of Supervisors to be the central hub for planning, coordinating, and administrating the regional homeless response. Under his capacity, he serves as the administrative lead for the Fresno-Madera County Continuum of Care, better known as FMCOC, lead agency for the new CalAIM Transition Rent Benefit and county lead for state, federal, private homeless grant funding. Key new functions in this program include collaborated application for federal funding management entity and coordinated entry flex pool administrator for rapid rehousing and multi-jurisdictional coordinator. The primary goal for his program is fourfold: centralized coordination, prevent and diversion to slow inflow into homelessness, perform matrix holding programs accountable for outcomes, not just shelter provisions. So his main topic was, I believe that Tulare County could take a look at his program, and we'll go from there. The other speaker was Noah Whitaker. He is a HHSA Behavioral Health Analyst. He specializes in Behavioral Health Services Act, housing element updates for the Tulare County, City of Tulare, City of Porterville, City of Visalia, and unincorporated areas, law enforcement units, housing authority, Patriot Point, street medicine, Visalia Rescue Mission, and Lighthouse updates, and point-in-time update. He informed us of regarding the DRS funding, AKA Encampment Resolution Fund Round 5. Well, here's where it gets kind of sticky. In the previous years, we would get 300 million plus funding for these point of homelessness. This year, they're allocating only 93 million total competitive funding available statewide. That's not very much compared to previous funding allocations, where, like I said earlier, they were over 300 million in the past. To sum it up, it is my understanding that half of it has already gone to San Francisco and LA. So that only leaves 40 plus million for the rest of California to make applications to get funding for California right-of-ways and for homelessness. So I pass that on to Mr. Tree, and hopefully we can get on the application in before June the 30th, because it doesn't look very bright on that aspect. So with that, the April meeting was approved, and the next meeting will be June the 30th of 2026.
Thank you, Councilman Rivas. Okay, Downtown Porterville Committee, Vice Mayor McCurvey.
Hey, Stan, you want to lead off on this one? You want to talk about our meeting at all?
Well, I've slept since then, Ed. I didn't prepare anything really.
Vice Mayor, bus driver you.
Well, we had fun in the meeting. You can go back and watch it.
Well, yeah, it was kind of a shotgun approach, wasn't it? I mean, we were kind of they were kind of shooting all over the room, but
It's amazing.
good things came out of it, though.
Yeah, it's amazing how much we are getting done. The hard part is measuring the gains and sustaining the gains that we've made, because the expectations that a lot of people have, and then we continue to get centered around in the downtown committee on just the safety of downtown and the cleanliness of downtown, and now we're kind of moving that out into the alleyways. That's the bulk of the discussion, because in order to have a thriving downtown, it's got to be better than it is today. And I think there's an expectation that it could be better tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it's just not going to happen overnight. And so there's a lot of frustration in the committee meetings that we have. And we decided, and let's go back even further. When we set this committee up initially, there was a lot of people that said, don't even try, you'll never succeed.
Oh, yeah.
So we've been trying, and we have been succeeding. We've got a lot in the win column, but measuring those wins and then taking stock in how far we've come, I think it's important, and we did that in this last meeting. We covered a lot of ground. We understand what the standards are. We got great input from the community through the members of our committee now. They went out and had meetings with members and business owners all over the community for the last 60 days. They had a couple of really big meetings, very successful meetings, and they came back optimistic, positive, wanting to get things done. And we did get a couple of things up before the council now already and approved, like the enterprise zone and now the moving forward with the music. There's some things that we didn't get done, but we're undaunted. We actually came up with an idea that we're going to be exploring, and we're already starting to look at this and bringing some lighting to certain areas in our downtown, adjacent to and in the back alleys and around in the areas that are dark, because that's where bad things happen in our downtown. So we need to light them up, and so we're going to be looking at that next, and we're doing some assessments now on what that is, because if we can highlight those areas and keep this positive momentum with downtown, the consensus is that parking on Main Street won't be as much of a challenge. People will feel safer if they park behind Main Street after dark and then walk across, even in an alleyway, if we clean up those alleyways. And so, you know, with the additions of what we're doing downtown that we've already achieved, including the JCPenney's thing that we're going to do, it's really going to continue to build. And so we're going to need to expand our reach into those areas that are needing to be maybe under better control. The area that's over there by JCPenney's, behind Yum Yum Donuts and behind Grocery Outlet is a problem area. And I think when we fix that we're going to see some great advances in downtown as well, because there's some opportunity to clean up that whole area as we fix that. I think there's also a lot of buzz in the meeting about having some evening events, regular events, about having some types of farmers market events and other types of events. Like there were some great events on that we voted for tonight too, in a similar way. I think that there's some momentum building, and that was the consensus and the optimism from the team. The challenge that we're facing is we're getting a lot of good collaboration, a lot of good cooperation, but expectations still have to be set on what we can actually achieve, because we don't have a lot of money to do a lot of things. For example, to secure all of the trash bins in all the alleyways, it would be a huge expense. And then there's some discussion about doing locks on the trash cans. We had that. You can go watch some of the meetings we've had. And we're not confident that that would solve the problem either, and it comes with some other problems. So we're wrestling with, keeping that secure, because a lot of people, now that we have a dump that's outside of town, they just drive downtown and dump their trash in our alleyways. And that's, we talk about that too. But we have to have some measures, and so I asked the team to continue to look at ways that we can measure our success so that it's a little less frustrating and a little bit more objective. That's difficult when you have something that's of this scope, but we're trying to come up with some ways to say, well, how do we measure success? We know we're better, but how much better? And what does it look like where we want to go? And that's really part of that conversation of setting expectations. I think everyone can agree. Please go watch the meeting. We're making good, steady progress, and everybody's working hard towards the same goal. That's my summary of the meeting from this week, and we're going to meet again next month and follow up on some of those measures and some of the standards.
Get down to the gritty.
Yeah, we're going to try.
You know, I appreciate that report. That is one of the, I love watching your committee meetings there, Vice Mayor, Councilman Green. I haven't got to watch it yet, so I need to go take the time to do that. One thing, just talking about the trash and people illegally dumping, a lot of these store owners do have camera systems in the back. So if they would call with a time and date when someone illegally dumps in their trash can, I'm sure Porterville Police Department can very easily use the flock camera system to figure out who actually went and illegally dumped. And that is a resource that the city does have. So I just something that you could throw out. If you ticket some individuals that are illegally dumping in these back alleys, then it will set a precedence. It'll be talked about, and people will stop doing it. Eventually, they'll stop doing it. Really love what's coming out of the downtown committee, and this echoes to what one of you gentlemen said earlier. We were told that don't do this, it's been tried before, it's an impossible task, but you're showing that hard work, pushing forward. Yes, it's not an easy issue, but we're going to continue to work hard and deliver for our downtown district and beautify our city. So I appreciate your efforts, Vice Mayor and Councilman Green. Okay, moving on to oral communication. If you have any comments, please come forward at this time. You have 3 minutes.
Wendy Ferguson. At the May 12th meeting, I stated that the Solid Waste Department was showing a healthier bottom line, unless, of course, you tried to artificially inflate your spending with additional manpower, trucks, and other expenses. Less than a month later, and you're proposing targeted staffing increases to address service needs that have gone unaddressed for many years, additional vehicles, routeware technology systems, and other services meant to improve efficiency. So we're supposed to believe that you've pivoted your direction with solid waste. How many years have these issues gone addressed for, and why? My guess is about 6, and they were allowed to go unaddressed because no one wanted to step up and deal with all the regulations or the schoolyard bullies, including yourself, Mr. Tree. So instead of taking the chance of bringing in an outsider that may or may not be controlled, because control is another factor in all of this, getting rid of the department became the secret plan, and you jumped on that bus and never looked back. And this is just another pathetic attempt at hiding the truth about what you're really doing. Same bus, different bullies, and you're headed for a cliff. Did you figure out during your negotiations that our aging fleet is falling apart and not worth what you were hoping for? Did they tell you they couldn't do it with our current manpower numbers because the routes are too big, so we needed to hire more drivers before they take over? So now we're going to purchase $2 million worth of trucks, and who do you think is going to apply for a job they might not have in 6 months? Then there's the routeware technology. Is this the same routeware we paid $200,000 for in 2024 and never fully installed and implemented? Are we still paying the $15,000 a month subscription fee for a system that's not even being utilized? $955,000 property acquisition for a maintenance facility. There's 14 acres on Westwood and 28 on Scranton for half that much. And we already own the property north of the courtyard where the new maintenance facility is supposed to go. And if additional property is needed, then it should be multi-funded by several different departments and not just solid waste. I also noticed that the trucks and the property acquisition weren't on the capital improvement projects presented to council in April, so I'm guessing this wasn't your original plan at all. Finally, we're approaching a council-approved 5% rate increase July 1st. The current fiscal year residential and commercial revenues were budgeted at $10.5 million and are projected to be roughly $10.6, and you're only budgeting $10.580 for the next year. One would think if there's a 5% rate increase, there should be more than an $80,000 revenue increase, unless, of course, your next move is to announce that you're suspending the rate increase, trying to sell it as a cost savings for the citizens. And it just so happens to be an election year for one of you. Won't that look great on your campaign ads? Just one more item you can add to your self-glorified list of things that you bogusly take credit for.
Thank you, ma'am.
Jacob Walker again. Let's see. I want to talk more on the flock cameras because I'd really implore you guys to look into it deeper and from every angle, not just law enforcement. I believe these systems will be instrumental, a key tool to the downfall of the free America we know and love and the rise of the techno-feudalistic authoritarian regime I see on the horizon. Not saying it's this current federal administration or the next one, but before we know it, we won't be able to speak out about anything. There is good news. Over 30 cities have canceled their flock contracts due to data being shared without the city's consent. Other concerns involve ICE using the systems to bypass the court process and avoid needing a warrant. I think no matter where you stand politically, no agency should be above the law, and each must abide by the judicial system. Even when the individuals they are trying to detain may not be legal citizens. There's a reason the Constitution reads persons and not citizens, but that's another debate to be had. Point is, the data is being accessed without the permissions of the cities. I've heard but have not seen there are videos online about how to infiltrate these systems and look at the cameras and look at the data with relative ease even, as well as logins and access codes being sold on dark web accounts in places like Russia, China, and all the bad ones that everybody's always going on about. I think Porterville needs to jump on board with getting rid of this parasitic private company profiting off of us and invest more in youth and education if we want to prevent crime in the long term. There's programs like Becoming a Man by Youth Guidance in Chicago, which provide young people with behavioral science-informed interventions and can reduce violent crime arrests for youth in the program by 50%, high school graduation rates by 19%. These are the kinds of things that reduce crime, not more surveillance and more guns. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walker.
Last time, Greg Shelton, native of North Williford Drive. I wanted to kind of address the issue of changing the development ordinance. And I don't like the idea of doing one-offs either, but the question, if everybody has to dig around and no one can really figure out why it's there in the first place, but we're reluctant to take it out because we're afraid that if we don't leave it in there, that something might happen, but we don't even know what that is. It just seems silly to me. And it's like, well, you can still do a conditional use permit. Yeah, $1,500. $1,500 and, I don't know, 3-4 months delay to address the dogma of an item that no one understands what it's for. You know, I have a reverse thing, and Mr. Tree and I discussed this. Well, if there's not really a risk to the city, why don't we just take it out? And if down the road we find out there was some relevant issue that it addressed, then we'll put it back in. But the same thing happened with Mr. Rivas, Mr. Stan's sign ordinance. All these predictions about, you know, if we change this ordinance, the sky will fall, didn't come to fruition. So it makes me wonder why we needed it all for them 8 years that, you know, when we took it all out, no one seems to notice the difference. So anyway, I think that we need to get rid of some of these things. If we can't come up with a reason why it's there, let's just take it out and see what happens later. Now, the other thing that is about the PA system. When I was on council, I reflect on, you know, the things I was most proud of, and I did literally thousands of votes, which obviously I don't remember because the mayor's really pretty good at finding them, that I don't remember making. But the three proudest things, plus one that is the Freedom Fest, which I got the funding for, which was a 3-2 vote. The busing expansion, which I did with Mr. Tree when we were able to, up until that time, when Mr. Tree got here, we were 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, and we expanded it to 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. And I remember seeing little old lady on a park bench in the rain, you know, and on a Sunday, and I remember how proud I was because I got a bus for her so she didn't have to walk in the rain. And the third one was, and it had to do with Donnie Moore's dad come up with an idea about opening up the Wall of Fame to people that were alive so that their friends could enjoy it, and it was a hit. Those are the three things that I'm most proud of, and I think this PA system, when you look back on your tenure, it's going to be one of the things you're most proud of. It's something that everybody's going to see and everybody's going to be able to appreciate. A lot of things aren't that way, so I'm a fan of this. So anyway, I think that it's a good meeting. I think we hashed out a lot of good things. I think we're going in the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shelton.
Good evening. It was a good meeting. A lot accomplished. I don't think anybody, me or anybody here, the business owners are downtown are debating or not wanting the speaker system. I don't think anybody's debating that. It's the funding source. Let's use that $150,000 that you're proposing on this. Let's put up some lights down in the back alleys of Main Street. Let's lock the trash cans, because that's what it's for, I believe. I could be wrong. And let's use the cannabis money for the speakers. Nobody's debating having the speakers. Let's use the right funding for it. That's all I think the community wants. Thank you.
Thank you, Thank you, Scott.
Good evening, gentlemen. Taha Saleh. Thank you for a great meeting. It was really good to hear that the public surprised you, Mr. Rivas. So hopefully that continues to be a thing we do for. But I will ask that you're the leaders, right? So, even though sometimes we can get out of shape, when you're a leader, you set the tone, right? So if we set a tone of positivity and respect, that will come. It can be both ways. So I want to just reference that. Secondly, I want to shout out Ms. Weaver here. You are a Swiss Army knife. I came down to the city because I'm going to be going through a redevelopment project. I've heard a lot of things about working with the city, and my experience is 99 out of 100 times, I've had a pleasant experience. Now I come with a smile. That might change how you get, what experience you get. I come with honey, not lemons. But I show up and I say, how do I do X, Y, Z? And they go, let me go get somebody. And she comes out of nowhere like she's just been working on like a million different things. And she says, X, Y, Z. And I go, great, thank you, I'll be back. Just real simple instructions. So I look forward to reporting in the field. I'm going to do this. It's going to be fun. I've got great information already, and I'll have a firsthand experience of what it is working with the city, if it really is truly that hard, or sometimes the public just has a hard time just come with the right attitude. So thank you so much for a great night. Yeah, with the speaker system, that's a great idea. Funding it, I know there's been a lot of people talking about where the money's going to come from. As a business owner, if I had an opportunity to have that kind of improvement, I wouldn't mind adding some money. I know this group of people on this downtown community are an extraordinary group of people. That's probably a big reason why this is working. These are people that are dedicated. And you've responded, Mr. Vice Mayor and Mr. Councilmember Green. You responded to them, so it's a collaboration. And so I know that maybe there's a way to maybe front this and then get it paid back through cannabis, maybe get it paid back through an assessment. As these businesses make more money, maybe they can say, hey, we'll give some back. So thank you for taking the leadership, sir. I know they want parking. That's the big thing they're talking about. I know you got a $2.1 million parking. That's going to do a long ways. I know there's been a struggle on how to get people to feel safe, and sometimes the idea has been parking limits, not parking fees. And I know with the technology these days, there's ways to use apps, there's ways to use kiosks to encourage better behavior because there's certain areas that are more impacted. So I think there's something you can get done by the next meeting that could totally address that. Thank you for your time and have a wonderful night, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Saleh. Okay, I'll close the oral communication and bring it to council for other matters. Councilman Rivas, do you have any comments?
Yeah, I just have one comment, and it's a statement, and I'm just going to be brief. But before I say that, thank you, everybody, for tonight's meeting, and thank you for all the kind words, and thank you for all the directors and everybody putting in and bringing this to fruition. I appreciate that. But in regards to that lady's statement, public discourse deserves facts, not fabricated outrage. Statements like that rely on distorted facts, anonymous agitation because they cannot point to a single verified fact, documented violations of official findings to support their claims. Every allegation raised has already been reviewed and addressed and dismissed through the proper legal channels, administrative channels also. That is the difference between accountability and theatrics, man. Jiminy crickets. Porterville deserves better than recycled misinformation packaged as activism. Real leadership is built on transparency, documented evidence, and lawful process, not edited graphics and attempted to inflame the public for political gain. We will continue focusing on actual governance, actual results, and actual noise is not evidence, and repetition is not a truth. My God, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Rivas. Councilman Beltran.
Let's see. To the opening statement, Mayor stated about the Memorial Day event. All those that participated, the Porterville High Band, but the volunteers and those veterans, it was really nice to, again, this community, just the patriotism and dedication to support those of the military service. The badge pinning that was addressed earlier, just congratulations and welcome to those new members to our city, and thank you for their service. I want to mention again the new Porterville Rescue Mission. If people want to help out those struggling with substance and homelessness, Tri-Tip Sandwich Dinner, June 3rd, 3 to 6 p.m., 30 South A Street, $15 a ticket, 559-202-9157, or 559-782-6379. This is where you can kind of give some support and other donations. You can sit there and call them or go by and see what they could use. I had a Q&A event this last Saturday at the Tule River Parkway. Thank you for those who participated. It's a great engagement. It's a good way to cut out and talk, that we don't have to get up here and have conversations that might interrupt the meetings. But I look forward to doing another one next month. Hopefully the weather's can not be too bad. But just thank you for those that participated. I love engaging with the community. Lastly, congratulations to all the graduates in our community, whether you're preschool or college. Good luck with your endeavors during the summer, and those who are finding careers, good luck. Hopefully it's locally. If not, don't forget your hometown when there's job openings or time to raise a family. Our area is pretty inexpensive considering California. Just best wishes to all those that are celebrating. Celebrate safely. And lastly, as the summer approaches, parents, please be aware of where your children are during the summer. There's a lot of problems with youth out and about in the community. Please know who they're with. Please be mindful of what time they're out and what areas they are hanging out in. There's a lot of targeted areas in our community that create problems. So please, I know it's summer and everybody's busy and your kids may be a little more wandering on their own, but please, parents, caregivers, guardians, be mindful of what they're up to. That's it.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Green.
Oh, I think I'll lavish a little more thanks and appreciation and recognition for staff, everybody. And you're exceptionally nice people too, and I appreciate that. Hey, but what I want to mention, Rich brought a couple of books back that I loaned him a while back. I don't know if he ever got an opportunity to read them, but maybe he won't say. But just for people that kind of interested in history of Porterville and Tulare County, several years ago, the author of this book, it's called Wild Tulare County, Outlaws, Rogues, and Rebels. And this Terry L. Ullman, he's from Visalia. He was in the Visalia Police Department for years. And wrote this book, and it's got like 13 of Tulare County's baddest bad boys and the Evans Sontag train robbing gang, and then of course Porterville's own bad boy, Jim McKinney. And then if you really want to get into Jim McKinney and what entailed, and it's called Shotguns on Sunday. That's where he was on the lam for 3 years after he shot up Porterville, and he wound up out in Arizona, and he was supposedly the last outlaw. This was in the 1903, 1902, in that era, the last outlaw that was chased on horseback.
Wow.
Yeah.
Didn't he kill
So-
a sheriff in Kern County, or the sheriff in
Yeah,
Kern County?
yeah, he was, he started drinking, he wasn't a very good guy.
Yeah.
So, anyway, just people might be interested in it. You can buy these online. Shotguns on Sundays is still, this gives you the whole story about Jim McKinney. This book, Tulare County Outlaws and Tulare County Outlaws, Rogues and Rebels, it's a fairly short read, and most of the guys, it's synopsized, where, you know, you don't get a lot of detail, just kind of the overview of the bad guys. So that's just all I wanted to say. If people are interested, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Green. Vice Mayor McCurby.
If you want to know anything else about what's going on in Porterville, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Mr. Green has taught me so much. He's been around a long time. You can see the gray hair.
Older than dirt, Ed, or what?
But I'll tell you, man, there's some good stories there, and you're quite the historian. I appreciate that, Stan. He loaned me a couple of books, too. Just want to remind everybody that tomorrow there's a badge pinning ceremony right here at 4 p.m. for the fire department. I got a really nice note from teacher over at Los Robos School that I know. They took their kids to the pool, and they wanted to express their thanks for all of the things that we had just done. They specifically said, please tell Donnie he did a great job, but make sure he let his team know what a great time that those kids had out at the pool, that the way that the pool has been refurbished, but also the way it's laid out. There was plenty of stuff for the kids. The lifeguards were doing a great job, and they just had a wonderful experience at our pool. All the kids, that's from the kids at Los Robles Elementary. And then I get a little short shrift on this earlier. So, Russell, I want to make sure that you get it was nice to be able to go to TCAG and talk to QK and talk to Caltrans and talk to the supervisors and see all of the bigwigs around the county and get these awards. And just accepting this on behalf of Porterville was a good honor. So please take this and share the praise with everybody in transportation. This is because of the outstanding micro transit, which is something Porterville has always led on, and former Councilman Shelton was talking about that tonight too. So this is for you, Russ, and your team, Mr. Ice, Director Isom. And then the other one, and I know that Sarah and Clayton are really shy. I got them up there with me, but I couldn't get them to speak or anything. But you guys do wonderful, wonderful things. And we hear about you a lot more. And we're digging into these items with regulations and all this, and we're starting to see all those things that you guys produce. But the Outstanding Bike and Pedestrian Project, and what I told all the folks in that big luncheon was it was great to be able to deliver, and we've said it here many times, to deliver a parkway in partnership with TCAG and their support over these many, many years, because this is a long time coming. This is a 30-year goal that was set, and we're starting to realize that and set new goals now. But thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Clayton. Please share this with the team. This is a great project. It delivered for our community. It helped us to address some of the challenges we have down in that area. Thank you so much. You guys did a great job, and I don't think I gave you the proper due, and so I wanted to say some more things. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. You know, the worst thing about going last is all the good talking points are taken. So, yes, great points to all of you gentlemen. You know, I want to just talk about some of the comments about the refuge and the shots at our city manager, and it's always kind of, I get taken back. You know, I didn't vote for this. I voted no on it, but the council voted to raise the rates on refuse about 3 years ago. And I can't remember if it was 88% or 92%, but we doubled the budget. And so what you're seeing now, and still the rates are still increasing, it was over a 5-year process, but there are more revenues in the refuse department. And naturally, we're gonna look at hiring more staff and fixing the issues that were declared issues from those years ago. Now we're gonna address them. So to highlight our city manager as if he's doing something sneaky or behind the scenes, it's just wrong. Now, she did make the statement about cutting the 5%. I would love to do that, city manager. I don't know if we could do that because I know it went through a 218 process, But heck, I would love to hang that on my hat, no doubt. Put that feather in my cap. Let's go for it. Mr. Shelton, thank you for your leadership on some of these issues, and you talked about your accomplishments, and I started running through my accomplishments in my short 3.5 years here on city council, and not without the persistent hard work and dedication from city staff. This does not happen, but looking at this, we have put in 3 pathways in my time. We've gotten 2 playgrounds, actually 3 playgrounds. I'm missing the one off of, what's the playground there just down the street from the Forest Service station? I can't think of what street that is. But 3 playgrounds. Let me continue on. You don't have to answer that. We've taken the city from doing 5 lane miles to 10 lane miles to 25 lane miles and now 30 lane miles of self-performed street maintenance. We have a parking lot that is budgeted on Main Street. We've paved Main Street, replacing the trees. We have a community center being built. We have a Washington Monument as a national marker for 250 years of American history. And it is going to be a national marker. We have the marker in the office. It's pretty amazing. And the PA system would be the cherry on the pie, right? So I appreciate you highlighting that and just showing what efforts it takes to get here. And to my colleagues, outstanding job. What a resume. I want to give a shout out to my oldest daughter. I missed her banquet for her softball award banquet tonight. She received the Coaches Award. My wife texted me a nice picture, and so I'm very proud of her and her hard work and dedication to a sport that she loves. With that, as the Vice Mayor said, we have a badge pinning tomorrow here in the chambers. Once again, staff, amazing job in getting the budget on time. Looking forward to the public hearing. And then I'll end with this. There's been staff that has stepped up the past council meeting. I highlighted that staff. I presented you with the challenge coin. There are more staff that I missed. So I'm going to use your first names. And that would be Hilda, Tricia, Louisa, and Yuli. I'd like to present all of you with a Porterville challenge coin, the 250 with our farmer. I really appreciate the hard work and dedication that you guys have given this city and stepping up in these moments. And I'll just leave it at that. City Manager, you have the final word, sir.
Great comments from all the council. We appreciate the recognition. Staff does an outstanding job. None of these things could be possible without their extremely hard work. We appreciate the community's input as we continue to build the budget. And we, like Mr. Slay had said, I also echo that and encourage folks to get involved in committees and other city activities and non-city activities. Just get involved from a coach all the way to a commission. And then I'll just leave that it was a intentional decision to move the city manager's office to the front to be more accessible.
Yeah, I love that.
And so if there's anyone that would like to sit down with me and talk about any items, I will make myself available. Even if you just want to send me an email, I'll respond to it. I want to be accessible to the community, and it was intentional to be accessible to the community. So that's it, Mayor. And
Hey.
Donnie called it 9:15 a week ago, so
I
shout out to
appreciate
Donnie.